Well, I was wrong about Ghost of Yotei and wrong about a lot. I said I did not think this game was going to get a Game of the Year nomination. It's kind of difficult, I think, for these types of games to elevate themselves enough to garner that attention, that prestige, that level of praise. So I said that I didn't think that was going to happen. I said I wasn't really sure if the story was going to be as strong as Tsushima. I thought it's a very similar story to what we saw in AC Shadows. This might actually land a bit weaker. I also said that I didn't think it was going to look better than AC Shadows with the ray tracing, global illumination, and Assassin's Creed Shadows. I just thought the visual fidelity of Yōtei just didn't quite look like it was going to be able to surpass that from some of the trailers that I had seen. Well, today I want to talk about how I was wrong about all of that. I'm also going to be diving back into gameplay as well, as the members apparently want me to play tonight. We've got some sake that we've ordered. We're going to have a fun night tonight for members. Make sure you have a membership to the channel if you want to be a part of those streams. My wife joins me for those on Friday nights. If we hit even bigger goals, we do community game nights on the weekend, and we play games like Jackbox together. That's a great reason to click join and become a part of what we do here. So later in the show, I will walk through my talk about all the things I was wrong about. There will be a timestamp below for that. If there's no timestamp, bark at me. Sometimes I'm switching to gameplay and I don't have a chance to go back and add the timestamp. So if the timestamp's not there, bark at me. It's usually about 1 hour into the show though. So if you just fast forward to the 1 hour mark, if I'm, paying attention to the time, that's when that will happen. Also, remember to hit the like button. That's a huge way to support the content. If you've not been getting notifications or anything like that for my streams, you can always unsubscribe, resubscribe, reset your bell button. That seems to jar its memory. YouTube made some changes recently, and some people are reporting not seeing my content as well as other people they're subscribed to, so you can always check that. If you're never here for the live shows and you watch later, thank you so much for that support. There's a lot of stop having fun energy out there though. I was just putting out a tweet about the picture that I took and saying that it's a work of art. I had people come into the stream yesterday doing what they do on launch dates of games, right? Saying everything is boring and mad and looks bad. There's a lot of stop having fun energy out there, and I got to tell you, Yōtei has far exceeded my expectations. I'm curious where you guys have landed on this. So make sure, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Make sure you've done the thing. Hit the like button. Lock in for a discussion. We could also take a look at the Golden Joystick Award nominations. They released their list of game categories and things like that. And we're off to a strong start over here on Purple. They're wasting no time. Suede hits 34 months using their Prime. 8-Bit Dad hits 36 months. And then a big one. A 10 bomb comes in from Alex and gets us to 259. I now owe a member to Purple, and a hype train is coming. Now's the time to start piling on the gifts. And everybody requested that we play Yōtei tonight with Madam, so I ordered some sake that was recommended, and that's what we're going to do. Right now, if you gift, we do have drops enabled on the channel, and the hype train has started. Pouring Rain hits 44 months. Thank you so much. We are now at 60. So thank you, everybody who is taking part in the hype train over there. Well on our way. And if you guys are on YouTube, hit the like button. I've paused the thing that nobody likes. It kind of interrupts us and we don't like it. So I've paused that. Hit that like button as a way of helping this video find more folks. Curious what you guys feel like the consensus is here for Ghost of Yotei. I am seeing sort of overwhelming praise everywhere I look. The user score on PlayStation is incredibly strong, almost 10,000 reviews, like a 4.89. Everybody's saying this thing's getting Game of the Year nomination. Now, obviously, I think a lot of us agree it won't win, but it's going to get a nomination. Expedition 33 is the likely winner. Dylan, thank you for gifting a member over here on YouTube. Han shot first, and so did you on YouTube, and Han shot first, and so did you, Alex, over there on Twitch. Thank you, boys, so much for being the first to drop those gifteds for the day. I'm playing on the base PS5, and it looks great. You did a great Yōtei stream. That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate that. The PlayStation 5 Pro is putting on, I think, a very, very impressive showing. I will say that, a very impressive showing with respect to, and I know nobody likes price increases, but even still, $750 right now for that device. What it's achieving in a game like Yōtei is truly, truly remarkable. Yeah, I've seen Mighty Keith talking about how much he enjoys the game, and he talks about how, gaming discourse is in the mud. People are just fueled by other things. I don't want to get into all of that, but I tend to agree with him. I think the best thing for you guys to do right now is, if you're enjoying a game, if anybody tries to rain on that parade, that the stop having fun meme, I think you just mute them and move on. I just don't think you pay attention to them. Let them be whatever it is they feel they need to be in this space. They don't have to get into your space, into your experiences. And a 10 bomb comes in from Raven over here on YouTube, and we are at 471, and we're even closer now. Snake558 renews for 8 months. I'm still enjoying Yōtei, but Expedition 33 is my game of the year. This is a close second, though. I definitely can agree with you. I think they're going to trade places. I think Yōtei is going to end up being my favorite. It's obviously a little bit of a bias there. My preference is for games like Tsushima. I love Tsushima, so I'm a little bit of a bias there. I think that's more of a preference than a bias, actually. That's a bias driven by preference, maybe. I'm not actually sure, but Expedition 33 is certainly my game of the year currently. I think Yōtei is going to unseat it, but I do think Expedition's going to win. Yes, and they do have a mask from Death Stranding in the game, the gold skull mask that Die Hardman wears. Or wait, but not Die. It's not Die Hardman. It's wait, or is it? Yeah, it's Die Hardman. I got that right. I always get their names confused. There's Dead Man and then there's Die Hardman. Yeah. Raven said, not so fast, Twitch. We have a bit of a contest going today. They're still ahead, though. It's 17-14. Good work. Let's see who ends up on top this morning. The hype train's still going over here on Twitch. Having a turn-based RPG near the top is really high praise from you. I originally said that I thought that game was a Game of the Year contender. Hang on, what is this? Oh, I received a reward. Duolingo is doing 3 months free for Super Duolingo. And I earned a Gamer Duo badge. Okay. What is Duolingo? Anyway, thought Higgs had the gold mask. Oh, you're right. It is Higgs' mask. Yeah. Die Hardman's is like gray. I'm sorry. The golden skeleton mask is Higgs. I'm forgetting. In the first game, Die Hardman has like the gray one. Yeah, my mistake. Did you try the Watanabe mode? No, I don't want to fiddle around with that. Now, you guys can tell me what your experience has been with Ghost of Yotei gameplay, but I don't want to mess with like the bloody mode or the Watanabe mode, like, or however you pronounce it. I'm just playing it as is. Now, there were some complaints this morning about the camera in Morning Coffee. And I think these complaints are valid. However, apparently if you try the classic camera, it fixes it. I'm also going to try a classic targeting setting as well. And we're very close now. Stonespire bumps the line by 1, and we get a renewal from James using his Prime over there on Twitch. Says the game on ray tracing looks awesome. Boom, boom, boom. It's 18-15. Now Stonespire's going to land the plane of 475. And I owe you guys a member over there on YouTube. Guys, we're already just absolutely cooking this morning. Make sure that the like button is also cooking, and I owe you guys a member over there on YouTube for hitting the 475 milestone. We're officially 25 away, and now we've got an Agent of Chaos coming in. Stonespire accidentally pushing us past by 1. I don't think that was his intention, but that's okay. 24 away from 500, and then we can work on stretch. We didn't get the stretch goal last week, so the 500 is for a Friday night stream with Madam, and then the stretch goal is for a community game night on Saturday where we get together and play games together as a community. Ghost of Yotei for me is fun, but that flicking the coin minigame is annoying sometimes. I actually haven't tried it yet. I've heard that people like it. The camera's driving me crazy. Can I please lock on targets? You can. So Shovelface, go into the settings, change the camera to classic like Ghost of Tsushima. It'll be more like that. And then you can turn on a traditional lock on. I'm going to try that today, right? I'm going to try that today. Is the title clickbait? I was wrong? Oh, no, I'm admitting that I was wrong about a lot. I didn't think this game was going to be nearly at the level that it is. It's exceeded my expectations. I didn't think this game was going to get a Game of the Year nomination. I think I was wrong about that. I think this is definitely getting a Game of the Year nomination. I didn't think it was going to be better in the story, and it is. And Raven's going to drop another gifted as well on YouTube and get us to 477. Thank you, Raven. I definitely got a lot wrong about this game. The story is way better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be like a cliche revenge story, and it was going to be too similar to AC Shadows, and it is not. is very different and I think very good. Are you getting Kingmakers? I don't really have any desire to play that. It looks super cool, but maybe we could do that for like a community game night or something. Because can't you play with other people? I don't know. The mini games have nothing on Mind's Eye's CPR mini game. That was peak. Yeah. The CPR game in Mind's Eye will be tough to beat. This is true. Peak gaming. It's so good. Let me know right now where you guys land on the game in chat. Where do you land on Ghost of Yotei gameplay? How are you rating it? How are you experiencing it? I'm looking at Twitter. I'm like, this thing is getting almost universal praise. It's almost like the users are over the moon. They're even more excited about it than the review outlets. Like the review outlets all had high praise. It's got a great score, but people are seeming to really, really like it. It's exceeded my expectations. I did not expect to be this blown away. Vithar says, I'm absolutely blown away. I can't get enough. There's a camp right outside of her home, and the characters look very plastic. I don't think I've seen anybody looking plastic. I don't think I've noticed anything looking plastic. I think NPCs in this game look perfectly fine. Now, the cinematics are always going to look way better. Okay, we got a 9.5 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10, 10 out of 10, a 97 out of 100. Wow, a lot of high praise in the chat. A lot of high praise in the chat for Ghost of Yotei. I mean, as long as cheeks are in gameplay, I'm happy. I was actually surprised. They're a bit more generous with that than I thought they would be. Like, they're definitely letting you know that, like, I don't know. She turns to the side in and out, and I'm like, that's pretty generous. I didn't think they were going to do that. I thought she was just going to step down in and they would fade it. I was like, okay, you know. Atsu's kind of, she's got a pretty big Atsu. In any case, I was like, all right, Sucker Punch, I see you out here giving us a little side view. Matt coming in with 8 months in a VIP. I land nowhere. Not my game, but I got to use this chat. Hey, Matt, thank you so much for being here anyway. We're at 478. I predicted it would get a 92. That's high, though Ghost 1 was overly praised and pitted against Tilu 2 in an unfair way. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to land in the 90s. That's pretty tough. Are the haikus still there? I've not done a haiku. I did a painting instead. I painted like a crane. So I don't know if the haikus are in the game anymore. Yeah. I will not be giving it a score until I finish the game. That's fair. Do you have an assessment right now, though? Like, where would you gauge it? You know, like if the game's quality maintains where it is right now, where would you think it lands for you? Dadatsu, that's right. Don't forget, people pitted Tsushima against Tilu back in 2020. Amazing game, but overhyped that year. VIP Plus from K. Cole, 32 months of memberships, and says, the dual sword mini game was good. The button presses were difficult. Okay, I want to talk about that. And I just paused the thing that nobody likes. Let me bump the line by one. Ooh, we are really close to some good bait. It's 20-18, by the way. Twitch, you just lost the lead. So I actually think that they have done a really, really good job with the mini games. Number one, you can skip them. You can skip the fish frying and the blacksmithing. You can skip the starting the fire if you don't want, right? And a gifted comes in from Alex, and there it is. The 20 bomb setup. If somebody drops a 20 bomb right now, we're going to be at 500 good and early, and then we can work on the stretch goal. What's good, Captain Steve? Not my sort of game, but it looks very pretty. It really does, Steve. It really does. I mean, you got to be eating good over there. Goodness gracious, Hello Games just injects that game with so much stuff. Call me Stonespire, says Alex. There it is. The spirit of Stonespire is alive and well. I'm having issues with the multiple parries. I haven't had an issue with the multiple parries in the couple of times I've had to do it. I think parries, I don't know if I've quite figured it out yet, but I think they're a little bit earlier than you would expect. I don't think they're quite as late as you would expect the parry to be. I think that's the issue. You can just hold block, but I think the parry is it's like a half a beat earlier than you think it will be. And Prisoner bumps the line by one. Thank you so much for gifting a member and putting us right there at 481. Thank you. Maintaining YouTube's lead. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. The dual katanas. So the dual katana mission, I think, rather expertly gives you the experience of it would be awkward for her to train with her left hand. I thought it was brilliant. I really, really did. Now people are like, the mini games are so gimmicky. Listen, they're just there to be fun. You don't have to do them. If you don't want to do the starting of the fire and the cooking of the fish, you don't have to. You can skip it. Like, they give you the option to skip it. It's there for people that want that element of immersion. But the way they did it with the dual katana mission, I thought was brilliant. It felt awkward, but then as time got on, they made it easier, right? And then you were more proficient at it. So you felt like her. It was like, oh yeah, I'm actually getting better at this left-handed thing. And then when you come out on the other end of it, you now have dual katanas. Now, I obviously have more thoughts about that segment because I thought it was brilliantly done with the story and the background and the lore and the character and all that. It was so good. But I thought that was a brilliant use of, like, the mini bamboo game or whatever. We had somebody in our chat that was being pretty critical anytime one of those mini games showed up. And it's like, they're just there to be sprinkles on top of the meal. They're not the meal itself. They're very infrequent. They're very quick, and you can skip them. Yo, a 5-bomb comes in from Raphael McCoy. We're having a big day and a big contest. It's now 26-19. Twitch, what do you got? You got more people watching today than usual, Twitch. Now's the time to rally. Now is the time to rally. I watched some people play it. It looks fun, looks pretty. Gameplay seems fine. I like to play games where you make your own character more so than story and railed games. What do you mean by railed? Like an on-rail? This is definitely not an on-rails game. Maybe you're just referring to another game type with this. You put sprinkles on meals. What, you don't, Zubair? I mean, you look like the kind of guy that would put sprinkles, on a steak. So, I mean, J Hart comes in with 7 months and a member plus. I'm curious if you still get those conversations if you get it right the first time. I didn't get it until the third day. I didn't get it until the third day either. I wonder if let me add you to the total. Yeah, I wonder. I didn't get it until the third day either. Does anybody know? Does the footage in the background and the story change for the dual katana mission if you manage to do it early enough? Zubair absolutely puts confetti sprinkles on steak. Zubair says, I do. I thought I had only found another of my people. I thought I had finally found another of my people. That's right, Zubair. Yeah. You have. Guys, if you're just tuning in, we're going to be diving into Ghost of Yotei gameplay later this afternoon. I'm going to continue playing, but right now we're talking about my in-progress Ghost of Yotei review. That's what we're talking about, and I was wrong about quite a bit. This is far exceeded my expectations as a game. So thank you so much for being here. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, take a quick second and hit the like button. Let's try to get to 200 likes faster than we have all week. We're already at a good chunk of the way there. We're at 125 already. You can skip the forge stuff. Yeah, you can skip it if you don't want to do it. You can skip starting the fire. You can skip cooking the fish. Yeah, you can skip that stuff if you don't want to do it. You can't skip the bamboo. The bamboo is actually a mini game you have to do for Spirit, but come on, it's fun and it's just pressing buttons. Like, people need to chill the frick out. Like, I think these things are meant, again, to be, they're sprinkled on top, okay? They're not the meal. The meal is the exploration, the conversations, the combat, the world itself. Like, that's the game. The game is not you cooking a fish. Like, of the amount of time yesterday I spent touching the DualSense pad to draw, to cook, to start a fire, if you add it all up, it was maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes of 4 hours. 5 hours. 5 to 10 minutes out of 5 hours. That ain't bad. At least you're not painting pictures. Oh no, there's definitely, you can paint pictures. It's very quick, and it's just for the fun of it. I mean, it's not, you don't need to do it. I don't know if you can you skip painting the pictures as well? Death Stranding and Yōtei games like this, I spend at least 100 hours in, masterpieces. When the folks come to your camp, it's awesome. And Vaughn Raz wants to add to the total, and he wants to put, boom, Twitch back in contention. It's now 27-24, 492 or so close to the weekly goal. Thank you so much for doing that, Vaughn. Friday night with Madam is well in play. We'll be hanging out with Madam tonight, it looks like. It might be a slightly later start than usual. My parents are in town, but they're doing a lot today. They're going to a bunch of different places around the city, and my parents are, they're getting older. They get tired, and they call it in. They pack it in pretty early some nights. Excuse me. The accessibility options have the option to make the coin-flicking minigame easier by showing you direction and trajectory. Bamboo Games allows you to type the buttons in your own time and still win. Oh, really? Can somebody gift me a membership? Craig, you have a badge next to your name. What are you talking about? I love the painting. It's a great use of the touchpad. Some of the random NPCs are very helpful and had some great side adventures. And there it is. Hasayo is going to bump the line. It's now 28-24. We're at 493 on the week. Thank you so much, Hasayo. I have Bamboo Strike on easy mode. You do? I'm going to try today. So if you guys are interested in this, some of the complaints about Ghost of Yotei gameplay is the camera. We're going to fiddle with the camera today and see if we can't get to be a little bit better with switching to a more traditional targeting and even switching the camera to the traditional from the first game. And another gift that comes in from Haseo. I know what he's doing. Somebody get ready. You can win the goal for the week for your platform with a 5-bomb. And Haseo is getting ready to set it up, okay? Get your fingers ready. And K. Cole does it. One comes in from Haseo, and K. Cole, boom, lands the plane. And that's 500. It is 35-24. And now, this thing updates automatically, okay? This is totally optional, but it is something fun. I don't stream on Saturdays and Sundays, okay? Those are kind of my days off. But I do a community game night on Saturdays with you guys, with the members, if we hit the stretch goal of 750. So that can be Fortnite, Fall Guys, Jackbox. We usually just do Jackbox because it's a little bit easier. Agent of Chaos is going to come in with Stone Spire. He wants to push us past the 500 to 501. He's like, guys, let's get to work. Let's get to work, he says. Any gameplay today? Yes, I will be doing some Ghost of Yotei gameplay in a while. I don't have like a determined amount of time, but I'll do it. And then Raven wants to add to the total as well and adds another one over here for Team YouTube. Thank you so much, Raven. Excuse me. You're a little slow on that. It's all right. I hate the painting BS. I got annoyed at the very beginning of the game having to write down the names. Let's talk about that, because I thought people were going to take issue with the writing of the names at the beginning, okay? This is something that I think gamers need to try to do. You don't have to. Okay, membership where? Type ! join or click the join button. If you guys are going to join and become a member to this channel, make sure and pick Member Plus. You get into more content and it supports me directly, and then I can give you more stuff. If you're on the gifted tier, I can't differentiate between you and somebody who's been gifted a membership. I like to give more content to the folks that support directly. I think that's fair, so make sure you do that, okay? Now listen. The writing of the names at the beginning, okay? This is something I do think that people need to more open to doing with games, okay? Let the game be its own thing on its own terms, okay? Just let the game be its own thing on its own terms. Meet the game where it is, okay? And the reason I say that is they did that at the beginning to make it feel as though you did this. You wrote these names down. You are going to kill these people. You understand? It's significant. Ink to paper is an ancient practice. It's meaningful. Putting something down, writing it down, writing a word or a name down like this is a significant thing. And they have you do it. The player does it. It takes a minute. Like, let that just like, okay, I'm here. I'm in this moment with this game. I'm experiencing this game as it was designed. I'm writing the names down of the people that I am going to kill. Right? It makes it... This is actually an interesting way to look at this. I think the gimmicks in this game make it more than a game. That's interesting to think about, but just track with me here and track with the argument that I'm going to try to make. Instead of it just being a cliche cutscene, now it's your turn to fight, cutscene, now it's your turn to walk over there, cutscene, now it's your turn to go do this. It's like, no. You write their names down. You do it. You start the fire. You cook the food. You do it. You're doing this. You're out here, this nomadic lone wolf. You do it. Nobody's going to do it for you. Like, that's a way of getting immersed into the mindset and the mind frame of the main character. That makes it more than a game to me. It's like, no, it's trying to bring me down into what she's experiencing and what she's doing instead of me just like watching her do it. Now, I think games can take this too far. I have been very critical of games that are like, oh, it's your turn to hold forward on the joystick, and you're just like holding forward on the joystick as your character like slowly limps along. Which they expertly didn't make you do that when she was injured and went to her horse. This was, I thought, an excellent moment in the game. The birth of the ghost is she overcomes insurmountable odds, barely survives, and her myth is born that she's a ghost. A person couldn't have survived that, right? That's how she becomes the seed of her being this legend is in that moment, right? And I was so glad they did not make me push forward on a joystick and make her limp over to the horse. So many games do that. I'm like, you don't need to do that. Just make that a cutscene. But I do think having like a gimmicky, like putting my finger on the DualSense touchpad to write the names down, I love that. I thought, this is significant. I'm the one that wrote their names down, not just her. I thought it was excellent. Yo, what's good, Brap? Good to see you. A $5 super chat from Mark. There's a mode that allows you to hear an anime director's music. It's awesome. It chills you out when exploring. Everything is quality. The game just drips with quality. That's in my script, that I'm going to walk through later when I talk about what I was wrong about. Some people came in and said, what were you wrong about? I was wrong by a lot. I was wrong about a lot. I didn't think it was going to be a Game of the Year nominated game. I'm pretty sure I was wrong about that. I didn't think the story was going to be that good. I was wrong about that. I didn't think visually it would be able to exceed AC Shadows. I was wrong about that. You think it's got a chance? I don't think it has a chance to win. No. I think it will get nominated, though. I didn't think it could get nominated. I was like, guys, games like this really struggle to get nominated. The year is too competitive. It's really hard for a game like this to elevate itself above the previous one. I believe this game has significantly elevated itself above the previous one. Ghost of Yotei is so much stronger in so many categories than Tsushima, which is really difficult to do. Shouldn't be surprised at the point that a Sony game is quality all around. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm surprised. I'm just saying they deserve that to be stated. We should never become numb to that. Like, the reason that people, let me explain something to you. The reason that people get so mad when PlayStation Studios are so quiet, this is why. This is why. This is what they do. They deliver the goods. They deliver the high potency product. And people are like, you got any more of those PlayStation first party games? Like, I get why people are like fiendish about it, because it's a high potency product. It really hits. And nobody likes to wait a long time for something like this. Let me also say something. Something that I think serves these games. There's two prongs on this. You having to wait is a good thing. It helps them cook and serves the potency, the quality, and the efficacy of the product. And making you wait is good. It is. You can't just go from one 10 out of 10 game to the next and then slowly become numb to it. I actually think it serves their purposes. It serves their aims. You have to wait. You're not going to finish Yōtei and have another game at its caliber right on its heels. You're not. Accept it. Just accept it. There's not something on its heels. There isn't. It's going to take a while for something else to come out at this caliber. The same thing happened with Expedition 33. When you rolled credits on Expedition 33, you didn't just like slide into another game at that game's quality. Like, I think it's good to have these things spaced out. I actually think it serves the purpose of the game to be very good, and it's good for you. You space them out. I'm telling you, there's something to be said for a game like Borderlands 4. There's something to be said for playing a game like Shinobi Art of Vengeance or First Berserker Kazan. They're excellent in their genre, but they're not like this. Do you see what I'm saying? Shinobi Art of Vengeance is one of the best platformers I've ever played, but it's not hitting like this, boys. It just isn't, and that's okay. Even a game like Astrobot, I would argue, like, Astrobot was so fun, and it was very, very, very good at everything it did within its genre, but it's not hitting like Yōtei. I think that's one of the reasons that people get so frustrated. They're like, can first-party studios from PlayStation just say something? I get it. They make high-potency product, and people want it, and they don't get it very often. They don't. We're glazing? I'm not even glazing. I'm serious. I think in the grand scheme of games and game quality, it serves the games being very, very good, and I think it serves your experience that you have to wait. Do a thought experiment with me, okay? I want you to imagine playing all these games right back to back to back to back, okay? You go from God of War 2018 to Tsushima to The Last of Us Part 2 to Horizon Forbidden West to Ragnarok to Spider-Man 2 to Returnal to Yōtei. And I mean, you don't give breath in between any of the games. You just doom, 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 doom. I'm here to tell you, I think it would actually blunt you. I think your reception to it, your dopamine, your serotonin, all your brain firing, I think you'd get blunted. I do. I think sometimes you just got to play like a video game. Like a video game. It's just like a game, and you're having a good time with it. You're enjoying it, and it's excellent. And you got to spread out the high potency. I do. This is my own personal opinion. I also am not a fan of binging a show. I think spacing out a show is better. I do. I think spacing out a show is better. I think it's better for your enjoyment of it. I think binging a show hurts it. I think it blunts your brain. I think there's brain science behind some of what I'm saying. There's psychological studies behind some of what I'm saying. Lono, I fill the gaps between Sony games with bangers. It doesn't diminish any of them. I don't know. Let's just say it this way. So, like, I loved First Berserker Kazan, and I loved Shinobi Art of Vengeance. But I wasn't, like, steeped into the cutscenes, the dialogue, and the story of those games. They were fine. They were serviceable. They got the job done. They weren't bad by any stretch. They weren't bad. But they were fine. I feel like when I play a game like this, I feel like when I touch a PlayStation Studio game, whether it's like Naughty Dog or Sucker Punch or Santa Monica or Guerrilla, it's like every piece of the game is just at that higher level of quality, like the voice acting, the writing, the story, the cinematics. And then, yes, the gameplay is excellent too. You play like Shinobi and you're like, the gameplay's phenomenal. The story's fine. Like, nobody's doing a deep dive documentary into the story of Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Have you seen the deep dive documentaries and the story breakdowns and the character analysis of, like, I don't know, the God of War games, of Tsushima, of The Last of Us? They're everywhere. Why? There's something different about a story like this. There's something deeper about a story like this. Nobody's doing that with First Berserker Kazan, even though it's an amazing game and I liked it, but nobody's doing that. The story doesn't hit like that. It doesn't have the potency. It just doesn't. I feel like this is a fair assessment. I'm not knocking these other games. I'm saying these games have a caliber of storytelling and character development and writing that I think is virtually unmatched. It's very rare for me to play a game and to feel like, I think that's one of the reasons that Expedition 33 stood so tall. It was like, this level of writing, this level of depth of story and character and voice acting and writing, it's not common. And when it hits, you're like, what is this? Sounds like you were right. Oh, no, I was wrong. I undersold this game quite a bit. I didn't think it'd get nominated for Game of the Year. I didn't think the story would be that impactful. I didn't think this game would stand as tall as it's standing right now. I really didn't. I was very much downplaying some of my expectations about this because I was ready for it to just be like another Tsushima, and I feel like it's so much more than that. Whiskey with 32 months in the VIP. It's been a while, Lono. I'm still supporting and lurking occasionally. A lot of work and social changes, but I'm blessed and still able to support. Keep it up, man. Well, that is so kind and generous of you. We are currently working on a stretch goal of 750. You're going to need the big boys to really turn out today if you guys want to hit that. That is for community game night. That's a weekend thing that we do as an extra stream. Am I wrong in saying that this year could go from Game of the Year contender to Game of the Year contender? Imagine if Saros is this much better. You might explode into glitter. Maybe. I'm also glad that Saros is a ways from now. I am. I'm glad about that. I don't want to go from one banger to the next. I want to have a bit of breathing between these. I want to let them kind of set and marinate in my mind. Corey says, people want the dopamine hit every second of every day. It's the reason the internet has to have a new story every day to get these people who are like, this gen sucks. Oh, you get the people that are like, this gen sucks. Right. I'm saying that I understand. I paused it, Wilbur. Thank you. I'm saying that I understand why. I do. I understand why people in almost a fiendish way, in an almost like addict way, are like, I want more. Do another one. Do another trailer. Do another showcase. Give me more. I get it. These experiences are they're so potent that you just want more. That's a real danger, I think, with digital entertainment. It is. It's a real danger. Have you ever watched kids have to stop watching a movie, show, or play a video game? Have you ever watched what it does to them? You experience it too. It's so difficult. It feels so good, and it's so potent, and it's so stimulating to all of a sudden be like, boom, black screen. It's like, that is a tough thing. Like with my kids with video games, I'm like, 15 minutes, guys. 10 minutes, guys. Okay, 5 minutes, do your last thing. I gotta like walk them down to the expectation that it's going off. If I just walk in the room and just like turn it off, I'm like, yeah, we're done. I'm setting them up for failure. Like, that would be very, very unkind for me to do to them. That would set them up for failure. They would get very angry. I've had to do that sometimes because they just refuse to quit. I'm like, all right, I'm shutting it off, right? Because now we're in a different exchange. We're in an exchange of like not following instruction, and there needs to be a consequence for that. So I just shut it off. But if I've given you ample warning that, look, the plane is landing, you got to get off, even then it's tough for them to shut it off because it's just it's so amazing. You experience the same thing. You're just older, and your crankiness is a little bit different than like a child's. Hopefully it is. Derek says, cool, makes sense. I didn't realize you had blunted your excitement that much, but I'll be pretty reluctant to get excited after Hellblade 2 maybe. Well, and here's the thing, Derek. Given Tsushima's reception in 2020, it got like an 83 from the review outlets. My outlook was games like this struggle to soar high in the critical reception. Like Ghost of Yotei, in my mind, I told people, I said, it'll land mid to high 80s. It won't be able to hold on to a 90. I was right about that. But I said it likely won't get a nomination for Game of the Year. It could easily walk away and not win anything. A lot of this is because Expedition 33 is going to step on every category it's in. It's just going to be like, oh, you wanted soundtrack? Oh, you wanted best performance? That's adorable. Oh, you wanted best art direction? That's so comical. Like, Expedition 33 is going to be in every category being like, no. That meme where like the guy looks at the cute girl and the other guy like slides into the frame and like shakes his head. Like that's Expedition 33. It's just going to slide in front of like every award this year and be like, no, this is ours. My position was, I just can't see Yōtei soaring that high. And after 5 hours, I was like, this game is soaring. It's so good. It's so much better than I expected. I think Lono's position is the right one for me too. Expect it to be solid, so there's room to be pleasantly surprised. You expect magic, you will usually be disappointed. Yes, I think that's a good way of describing it. Otavio Cruz says, when everything is potent and amazing, nothing is. Yeah, I do. I understand both things. I think I'm trying to be fair. I think I'm trying to be balanced in this. I understand why people get frustrated at the lack of PlayStation first party studios. Like they take too long or they don't say anything or whatever. I understand your frustration. I share it sometimes. I also understand why it's important for PlayStation to take their time. Right? What is this? What is this? Oh, it's probably where they're parking. My wife sent me a bunch of random letters and numbers, and I'm like, what the heck is this? Oh, okay. It's their parking location. I knew it. As soon as I asked the question, I was like, it's their parking location. She doesn't want to forget where they're parking, so she texted me where they're parked. When a wise woman meets modern technology, right? I expect magic from certain devs. Sucker Punch is one of them. And VR Tigo drops a 5 bomb and gets us to 508. Tigo's like, boys, what are we doing? Let's get this stretch goal, right? I've got my Ghost of Yotei mask in the corner here. I've got a samurai shirt on, right? We're talking Ghost of Yotei. Let's get to 200 likes, guys. We're not even an hour into the stream. Thank you so much. We're at 180. Let's get 20 more likes really quickly. Are you enjoying the story as much as Tsushima? Tsushima had one of my favorite video game stories ever. This is going to sound really weird, okay? I think the pacing and the impact of Yōtei is better. I think the themes of Tsushima are better, but I'm not done yet, so it's hard for me to know. Does that make sense? Like, Yōtei's pacing is phenomenal. It's excellent. I mean, it is the soundtrack, the way that it starts. I mean, it's a wonderful gut punch. And her first face-off with one of the Yōtei 6 is just wonderful. It's so good. Interestingly enough, they showed you a lot of it, and it didn't take the potency away, unlike what Kojima did with Death Stranding 2, where he was like, I'm going to show you 15 minutes of the game uncut. And I'm really mad that he did that. I think it hurt some of his game. Melrose Mike with a gifted member keeps the train going. It's 5:09. Keep it going, boys. Renewals and gifts and upgrades all count. Thank you to everybody who's contributed this week. Bingo, that's how I feel. So the pacing and the impact of Yōtei, I think, is better. I mean, boom, they get to work, and you're like, this is awesome. The themes of Tsushima currently, I think, are better. Tsushima's dealing with a deep philosophical question. What is honor? And then you go beyond what is honor to what is the cost of honor? What is it? Also, I was having a very interesting discussion with, I had a guy that is into literary criticism. That's what his PhD is in. I had him watch my Tsushima deep dive, and he had no notes. He said it was excellent. He was like, you're doing what I do. He's like, and for somebody that's never done it before, he's like, he thought it was very good. I'm like, well, I'm definitely going to do more of it then if that's a level of praise that I'm going to get, right? It's a little feather in my cap, put some pep in my step. I was like, I've never done anything like this before. I'm going to do this with Tsushima. And the real interesting thing about Tsushima, it presumes a higher level of morality and judgment, because how else would you judge who's right? Do you catch what I'm saying? How else would you be able to enter into the mind frame of who's right? Is Lord Shimura right? Or is Lord Shimura correct? Or is Jin Sakai correct? Who's right? Well, you can only do that if there's some higher level of judgment. How else would you judge their contrasting worldviews? How would you be able to do that? It presumes that you're able to. It presents you with a problem that can only really be examined in that way. So that makes the themes and the story of Tsushima, I think the themes are a little bit better. Now, the themes and the story in Yōtei could improve, and I hope that they do. I'll talk about that in a little bit when I go through my script, because I do think Ghost of Yotei is dealing with something pretty significant. This is something that they did with the story that I wasn't expecting that has elevated it for me. She's not just on a vengeance quest. She's not. It's so much deeper than that. It's so much deeper than that. I'm already thinking about my script for this long-form video in the future. She's not looking for revenge. She's not looking for justice. She's not looking for vengeance. She's looking for meaning. Because she's not just going to kill the Yōtei 6. Have you caught what she said multiple times? Have you caught it? It's subtle, but buddy, is it there? And I think it's very important to pick up on. She doesn't just say, I'm going to go kill the Yōtei 6. She says, I'm going to go kill the Yōtei 6, and then I will join my family in death. That is not a mission for vengeance. It isn't. It's not. That's so much deeper than I'm going to rebalance the scales. There's so much more going on when she says that. I'm like, wait a minute. You're not looking for vengeance. You're looking for meaning. You like, that's basically your meaning and your purpose. And once you've completed that meaning and purpose, then your life has no meaning and purpose, which means you're not looking for vengeance. You're not looking for revenge. There it is, Jaggy. She's looking for redemption. And once she's had it, she's done. I think that's deep. I think that's freaking deep. And I'm so pleased that they're not shying away from that. That's kind of dark, boys. That's not just, oh, these evil guys are going to get their comeuppance. It's, man, she's dealing with some deep stuff and some deep demons. If she's like, I'm going to kill these guys and then I'm out. It's like, wait, what? I want you to think about the brave, is that the right word? I guess you could say courageous effort in writing to be like, yeah, so we're going to make the main character basically say right at the beginning that they're not long for this world. Like, you really want to get behind a character like that? Wait, I'm going to take you on this journey and that's the end? That's what you're going to do at the end? Is that what's going to happen before we roll credits? That's pretty courageous for your writing team to think that's a good idea. Because there's a lot of people that could hear that and be like, what the frick? I want to be the hero. I want to be the warrior winner at the end. Not that. I'm telling you, this story, it's quite a bit better than I expected. I thought, it's just going to be like AC Shadows. Did you get my super chat? Lazaro, I did. I'm sorry. In Ghost of Tsushima, you were a good person who turned into the ghost. This is the opposite story. A ghost looking to turn into something more. Maybe. We'll see if that's where it goes. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see where they take it. They set the table rather perfectly. I loved it. I thought, oh, this is so much better than I thought it was going to be. Guys, we're really, really close to 200 likes. Try to get us there. If you're just tuning in, we need 10 more likes. And if you want to become a member, consider it. Click join. Grab that Member Plus membership so you can get into all my extra content as well as my Discord. It's more than that. It's more than that. I think it's more than survivor's guilt. Be more careful. This type of honor death, Amateur says, has deep roots historically in Japanese society, most famously in the form of harakiri, also known as seppuku. In 1962 film, harakiri was directed by Masaki Kobayashi, gives a direct and something of why it's culture based. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I'm very, very excited to see where it goes. In 10 minutes, I'll go through my script. In 10 minutes, I'm going to go through my script. I'm going to start trying to do the script at like an hour into the show, so that when people watch the past broadcast, they know where to go if the timestamp's not there. The thing I love is the main story doesn't feel like there's impending doom. You can go outside, stuff, and it's that's actually a really good observation, Wild Mustang. That's a really good observation. That's really good. Now that I think about it, hang on a second. No, I really like that observation. So, this is good. This is really good. I love that you brought this up. So in Tsushima, the world is dark, and like Jin's trying to fight against the darkness. Now I watched a video that observed that like things got darker in Tsushima, representing like Jin's departure from, the honor structure that his uncle Pathway had set him on. So the island kind of becomes the embodiment of that. Both the Mongols taking over thrust the world into darkness, but Jin is also becoming, no longer himself, and that creates, some level of darkness. Yōtei is more bright and more vibrant, and yet there's this undercurrent of evil that's there, and you're not quite sure, wait, am I darkness, or are they darkness? Wait, are we on the same side of the coin? Like, it's more of like, yeah, the world is more free and breathing, but is Atsu a form of darkness in the world? Very true, he's right, because in the first game it felt weird to go off and do little side quests and explore. Yeah, you have a little bit more freedom to just like roam the world, which really draws that into question, like, wait, am I a presence of darkness and death? But then you're going into places and helping people, so it is pretty clear these guys are bad. I don't think they're creating moral gray where like, are these guys bad? Like, they're bad. They're doing bad stuff, and you're trying to save. But it doesn't feel as dark and doom and impending as like when the Tsushima aesthetic got dark and storm-like as you progressed. The only time she speaks to that is in a hot spring. She jokes herself about spending a week relaxing in the spa and then says, I wish I had time. Is she going to grow a conscience at the end like Ellie? I don't think Ellie grew a conscience. I don't think that's what you're supposed... Well, we don't need to talk about that. That game will take us down a 2-hour debate about all these other things. I'd rather talk about Ghost of Yotei. I know you probably aren't, but are you giving Yōtei higher marks just because the pacing from Assassin's Creed was so slow? It's more than that. It's more than that, Fuzzy. One of the issues with AC's story, with the pacing, wasn't just that it was slow. Have you ever been watching something? Have you ever watched like a crime drama where they have like the dial that they can turn on the footage, and they're watching at normal speed, and then they go, and they like fast forward? That's what AC Shadows felt like. It was like, why is this taking so long? And then all of a sudden it was like, oh wow, Yasuke is good now. He's on your team. Doesn't really explain why he's on your team. Or this kid walked out and he said this thing, and now you're working together. And it's like, what? It had a very stop and go feel, almost like stop and fast forward feel. It was like slow, 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 fast, slow, slow. I feel like Yōtei has just been more appropriately paced. It hasn't felt like nothing feels rushed, but it also feels like there are punctuated moments that really matter. I also just feel like the world's just sort of being and breathing and existing, and I'm just sort of in it and exploring. I'm telling you, the real issue for me with AC Shadows was that the combat lacked depth. So I got at 35 hours, I was done. I was good. I think what's in Yotei's corner is the combat system is so significantly better. That was how I was in Tsushima. I never really tired of it. You might be like me, you might not be. My experience in Tsushima, I'm already feeling that in Ghost of Yotei. I'm just out riding around, I see some guys, and I'm like, let's go. Let's go, we're fighting. There's no like, I don't have time for that right now. I got to that point in Shadows. I was like, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. It's not that satisfying. It takes a long time. It's super repetitive. But in Ghost of Yotei, I'm feeling that magnetism to fighting like I did in Tsushima. It's like, nope, I want to fight you. Screw you. I see you doing something bad. And I hop off. And some of this is presentation. Some of this is execution and experience. Like, it just feels better. You're like, you do the standoff, right? You see guys doing something bad, and you go up, and you get to do your, you get to do your standoff. Your sword's in its sheath, you pull it out. And then the combat itself, you feel a sense of like, I'm getting better, skill expression, I'm showing off, I'm an awesome warrior, whatever. What you're saying is this fighting feels like a chore in Shadows. I felt like it started to feel like a chore, and in Yotei, Ghost of Yotei gameplay already really mimics Tsushima for me in that regard, where I'm like, I just want, let's get in a fight, let's go. Because it just feels good. You feel like you're expressing your skill, your combat awareness. The moment to moment feels as if like, I talked about this in Lost Soul Aside, where it struggled with the moment to moment because a lot of the animations were extended. So you would push a button, and instead of like a swing, it was like a swing, swing, swing. And you go button, 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 and it would, instead of it being like swing, swing, swing from, press, 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 it was swing, 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 spin, jump, swing. And it's like, I hit 3 buttons. What the frick is going on? And in a game like Ghost of Yotei, it's like every moment is dictated by you, whether or not you do good or not. Like, you miss a parry, you miss a block, you miss a dodge. That's you. You're doing that. And that's why I felt like Lost Soul Aside just fell flat for me, because I felt like I don't feel like I'm really in charge of what's going on. Remember, I made the joke. I think you were the one that laughed at it, Insomniac, or maybe it was somebody else. I said, I feel like I'm making suggestions to the character. And they're like, yeah, I'll get to that in a second. Hang on a minute. Like, it didn't feel like they were doing what I was choosing to do. It was like I was just making suggestions. Swing and jump and dodge. And they're like, yeah, give me, maybe. I might do that. In Ghost of Yotei, and again, this is similar to Tsushima and why it feels so dadgum good. It's this moment-to-moment precision where I feel my excellence or mistakes are appropriately represented into what happens. This is AC Shadows all over again? In what way do you think it's AC Shadows all over again? It makes me engage more to sharpen my skills. I think that's well stated. I do feel like you're always sort of getting better and improving. By the time I got to the end of Tsushima, you feel like the legend. You feel like the Ghost of Tsushima. I think that's one of the things that it brilliantly achieves, is that you become and feel like the Ghost. You feel like this legend. When you realize you just mashed triangle to win every fight. I think there are easier ways to admit you never played Tsushima and you're not playing this game if you think that. You can just tell us you've not played the game. That's easier. It takes less words. Just say, I've not played Tsushima or Yotei. Type it out. Just type that out and send that, instead of wasting your time and ours by just posturing as if you know what you're talking about. It'll really save us a lot of time this morning. Spade with 4 months. Jumping back in on over here on Purple. Thank you so much. I started on Lethal this time. Sometimes it's whooping my butt. I saw a clip on Twitter of a guy playing on Lethal, and this game does not mess around. I mean, it does not mess around. It was every second mattered. I mean, if he made a couple mistakes and it was almost the end. I mean, it was insane. I was like, wow. And then you know what it told me? It told me, I was like, I don't think I'll ever do that Lethal playthrough that I wanted to do. I don't think I'll ever do it, dude. I was like, I don't think I'd make it. I'd feel worn out after about an hour. I'd be like, I can't do it, boys. I can't do it. There isn't a second to breathe. No respites, no neutrals, no breaks. The enemy's like, what do you think this is, bro? What do you think this is? Welcome to the real world. All right, we're an hour in. I gotta do my talk for the people that watch later. If you're watching later and you sped up to an hour in, I'm getting to it. I promise. I don't want you to feel. Hang on. I don't want us to be in cutscene territory. I'm gonna try and get us to. I want some of my gameplay. There we go. Wait, hang on. I want to get my gameplay on in the background. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I got dual wield. I thought the quest was just awesome. I loved the way that they set it up. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So, okay. Let's get into this, all right? Well, Ghost of Yotei is here, and I was wrong. And I was wrong about a lot. Now, you may see the typical force negativity out there right now where people are saying that the game is not good or mid or whatever, but this game is clearly crushing it. And I want to go through a mix of things that I think are objectively true about the game, but also subjective to my opinion and how I've experienced this game. And yes, I actually think there are opinions about games that can be incorrect. If someone came to you and said that graphically Cyberpunk on a high-end PC didn't look any better than GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64, we would be able to reject that as an absurd claim that we know is just flat out not true. Now, you could say you prefer the older style, but when making a qualitative judgment about something that has clearly been improved, there are things that are objectively immovable. Okay, let's just start with the graphics. First, I was wrong when I thought this was not going to be able to look better than Assassin's Creed Shadows with ray tracing global illumination turned on. Now, admittedly, the water in AC Shadows is noticeably better. I think that's a fair assessment to make. It's not hard to look at the differences and say, yeah, one's better than the other. But the presentation, the scope, the art direction, the world detail, I think is significantly better in Yōtei. Now, that's just my opinion. That is subjective. You're welcome to think that AC Shadows looks better. But what is not subjective is that this game is a huge leap over Ghost of Tsushima. And yes, streams on platforms like YouTube can hinder someone's ability to see just how good this game looks, but the side-by-sides are undeniable, and I think that's worth celebrating. Ghost of Tsushima was already a gorgeous game, and Yōtei stands head and shoulders above it, which is a huge achievement for Sucker Punch. Everything about the game just screams quality. The way the foliage moves, time of day changes, lighting, minute details in clothing, combat animations, even facial animations in cutscenes. I've never played a game that looks and feels this good, just to sort of be in the world. Not since Ghost of Tsushima and then AC Shadows. Those were games that I just enjoyed being in the world. Now, one of the reasons I couldn't continue with AC Shadows is I felt that the combat system lacked depth, and it was not enjoyable to continually get into fights and playing. After about 30 hours, it got old. Tsushima was very different. It always felt great to get in a fight. I always wanted to kind of jump off my horse and fight people. There was a much better skill expression, much more depth, and the moment-to-moment just felt pristine. And Yōtei's even better. Now, one final note about the topic before I move on to the story with respect to graphics and graphical fidelity and lighting. Folks are continually trying to invoke Red Dead Redemption 2 and saying, well, it still looks better. Anytime a really good-looking game comes out, we have to hear this conversation, okay? Just this morning, I did a quick search of Red Dead Redemption 2 gameplay screenshots. And yes, it is another masterpiece that was ahead of its time. Like Uncharted 4 and Ghost of Tsushima, it has aged very well, but age always catches up with you. And the world, texture detail, foliage, and the character movement and the animations are starting to show their age in Red Dead Redemption 2. That's not hate. I'm not knocking the game. I'm just saying, look, it looks really good for how old it is, but you can now start to detect how old it is, especially when you do a comparison. There will always be the looming shadow over any game that does photorealism. The same can be said for Yōtei, but historically speaking, if you look at Yōtei and you do side-by-sides with games like Red Dead and Ghost of Tsushima, there are clear visual lifts and improvements that are undeniable. You can prefer one over the other, that's subjective. Saying that nothing looks better than Red Dead 2, I think, is an absurd position that cannot be demonstrated when you actually do side-by-sides. Yōtei will likely have another very long life in this category because I've shown screenshots of it to people who think that I'm showing them photographs. It truly is a triumph of world detail and lighting, raising the visual quality and the fidelity of a game. Now let's talk about the story. After playing Assassin's Creed Shadows and seeing the Yōtei 6 trailer, I was worried. Here we go again, I thought. You killed my family revenge story, okay? But Sucker Punch has rather masterfully set the stage for a very different kind of revenge story. It's one marked with reflection and a far deeper emotional impact. You have to listen very, very carefully to the way that Atsu frames her quest. She is not just out to get revenge and vengeance and kill people. That's part of it. But when she says she will kill the Yōtei 6 and join her family in death, it is clear. She is searching for meaning. She is searching for vindication. You could even say she's searching for redemption. That's a far deeper theme than just, I'm going to get payback on the people that killed my family. There's also flashbacks and cutscenes that continually build on not just the relationships that Atsu had with her family, but also how they shaped her worldview. The way that she views the world around her was shaped by those relationships and things that her parents said to her. I'm really hoping this continues as she reflects on her journey and her quest. This is pretty much a review in progress where I'm saying I got a lot of this stuff wrong. I did not think this game was going to stand as tall as it's currently standing. It has really blown me away. Especially if you're looking at the story and you consider she keeps stating that her family, she's going to join them in death at the conclusion of it. That's a very bleak outlook of not a typical revenge story. I said this morning, that's a pretty courageous thing to do as a team of writers, to basically tell people playing the game, hey, you're not going to be going the distance with the main character. They're gonna be leaving the world at the end of it, and that's a pretty significant thing. Readers and viewers commonly await sort of the revenge wasn't satisfying ending of a story like this, but this time we have this persisting darkness of a person committed to leaving the world after they complete their goal. I did not expect to care so much about the story, and I certainly did not expect the cutscenes to be so gripping. Especially after seeing some of them before, right? After what happened with Death Stranding 2, in my opinion, I was very critical. Kojima showed way too much of the big pivotal moments in the lead up to the game, and it robbed those moments of potency. Yōtei wraps everything in a very well thought out package. The music, the voice acting, the pacing, I think really delivers. I am playing it with the Japanese voice actors. I think that really elevates the experience, but the English voice acting is adequate. The pacing of AC Shadows, I actually think, hurt it in this department. And I think this is another clear leg up that Ghost of Yotei has over another game with a very similar story and theme. It allows the story to get out of its own way and just breathe. There was a training mission for the dual katanas that I will not spoil, but it is so perfectly executed. You get family history, lore of the island. You get an actual immersive context to how Atsu would need to train and improve with something unfamiliar to her, putting a sword in her left hand. Folks are being critical of the minigame part, I think are missing the forest for the bamboo. And that brings us to the last thing that I was wrong about. The Game of the Year nomination. Now, this is just a prediction. This could end up not happening. I could end up getting this one wrong, but I'm changing what I said. I think this game is a clear contender for Game of the Year nomination. Now notice, I'm saying it's a contender for a nomination. I don't think this game has the ability to beat Expedition 33. I don't really think anything has that ability, given how tall that game is standing within the critical framework of the general public, as well as just the people that are going to be voting in the Game of the Year, jury process. I originally thought that a game like Yōtei would not stand a chance at getting a nomination. I said, listen, these games tend to review, and they don't tend to stand as tall. If you remove the 9 mixed reviews on Metacritic and you look at the 105 positive reviews, it's overwhelming what people think about it. If you read those reviews, the praise is high for the writing, the pacing, the world itself. If you look at the technical praise from Digital Foundry and play the game like I did just after 5 hours, this has a much better shot than I originally thought. It will likely end up being one of my all-time favorite games as it stands right now, unless it completely falls off the rails, but given the critical reception, I highly doubt that's going to happen. The user score and the praise in the community is so loud. The forced negativity, the attempts to downplay this game, have become more comical than annoying. There is an awful lot of stop having fun energy out there. So at the end of the day, I am really, really happy to be wrong about so much. I did not think this game was going to land as strongly as it is with me. Now, I hope that when I roll credits on the game, I was wrong about even more. Because this game has managed to not just exceed my expectations, it's managed to shock and surprise me, which is what we all want to get from games. I actually really, really hope that continues. I hope all the way to the end they deepen the story and the journey. Because right now, I will say, I think the story pacing and the impact and the potency is much better in Yōtei than Tsushima. Tsushima's a little bit more of a slow burn and a slow start. I will say the themes and the overall story of Tsushima is currently better in my mind. It's dealing with honor. It's dealing with whose honor is correct, deeper moral questions. Right now, Yōtei hasn't quite got there. I think that it will, but those are just my thoughts about Ghost of Yotei, why I was wrong, why it is standing a lot taller than I originally thought. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can do that in a comment below, or make sure you're there for my live streams. Which a lot of you are here right now for the live streams, and thank you so much for doing that. Odin Arrow with 28 months and Member Plus. I wonder when she says she will join her family in death after her revenge is literal, or she means she too can finally be at peace like her family. Let me hit that renewal here on the total. I don't think you say I'm going to join you in death if you're talking about like, oh, I'll be at peace. That's not really a phrase people use for being at peace. You would say, and I can finally be at peace, or I can finally rest. You'd be more generic. I believe that. I think when you say that you're going to join someone in death, we all know what that means. Like, great write-up. Thank you. I feel more free in Yōtei. Maybe it's the real-time YouTube compression that I'm seeing. What is this footage from? What is it running on? It looks a step down from what Lona was playing on the Pro. That was my footage from yesterday, Zubair. So you're dealing with me streaming a stream through a capture card. So yeah, there's downgrade. It's good. That's a stream of a stream through a capture card. So I'm dealing with whatever. Actually, you know what? I might not, did I even have that set to 1440? I wonder. Yeah, it was running at 1440. But that's always going to hinder the appearance and the performance of the game. I didn't think I'd be using the spyglass as much as I am. It's a great addition. I don't think she currently believes she's deserving of peace. Yes, I think there's an element of guilt, which I really, really hope they push in on that. I think that adds to the story quite a bit. I also like the scene that we just saw. I like that she goes in to fight these guys and the big dude grabs her and just throws her out. Like anybody that was worried she was going to be like girl bossing it up. It's like, no. She can die, and she can die quick. And in that situation, they definitely humbled her a little bit. It's like, oh, you want to walk in here and get cocky? Boom! And they just throw her out. Then she gets the sword out, and she evens the playing field a bit once the sword is out. But again, that's the point of the game and the story is that you're playing the role of an amazing warrior. And if people want to play realism cards about like she wouldn't be strong enough to do that, well, neither would Jin. I mean, you're not going to win 2v, 3v, 4v1s just because you're really good with the sword, you know? Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the story, Insomniac Black. I kind of laughed when she got thrown out. I liked it because I don't think it was a breaking of the fourth wall or anything. I don't think they like looked at the camera and winked, but it was almost like, listen, if you guys thought we were going to do this like annoying girl boss thing where she's just going to strut in and you know, and everyone's going to be like, oh no, look at her, she's tough. They're not doing that at all. They were like, you're just going to walk in here and act like a tough? Okay, throw you out, you know? I mean, they launched her. And she's got mud all over herself. Like, I thought that was great. I was like, this is a very subtle way of saying, like, we're going to be realistic to a point. Like, no game is truly realistic, but that was at least an element of, like, we're not doing the annoying, obnoxious girl boss thing. She's still going to be treated as, you know, you're smaller than weaker than this guy. He's just going to pick you up and throw you. Previous message. Hang on, let me click on your name. I don't see it. I just did a bounty where they teach you about being disarmed, but I had the dual katanas and was only using one when I was disarmed, so I was able to just pull out my other sword. Oh, that's pretty good. She's actually been getting her butt beat quite a bit in the beginning. Yeah, like even her first kill is a disaster. Why? They establish why. She's impatient. She's impulsive. She's reckless. They establish that in the backstory with her family, and when her first encounter with the snake, it's not very good. They're definitely not like elevating her to some god tier status right at the beginning. You're like, oh, she barely survived. Like they say, she's flesh and blood, not an Onryo, a demon. Murdering hundreds of people is not easy. Don't ask me how I know. In my opinion, says Kat, this game has been like a really good book that you can't put down. After 9 hours, I had to force myself to shut down and go to bed. That's good to hear, Kat. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's a realistic portrayal of a woman's strength. Men will be stronger strength-wise, but she has to beat them with technique and knowledge. And even then, they're making it clear that you're not going to be able to just best somebody with the sword. The first time you face one of those brutes, it's like, oh gosh, like you get knocked around. We're all privy to some of these people. Girl boss equals capable female, check. Not scantily clad, check. Result female protect, not acceptable. No, I mean, Dante, there have definitely been some obnoxious versions of like that. VIP from Kat, thank you so much. Bumping the line to 512. We've got a bit of a hike if we're going to get to the stretch goal and unlock community game night. You guys have unlocked tonight. Friday night's unlocked. But if you want to unlock Saturday community game night, we got a bit of a hike. You guys might have to bat signal the big boys in here to start dropping the bombs. Usually if we can get into the 600s, it's an easy walk from there. But we got a bit of a hike right now. Sleep has been abandoned 12 hours in. Get it. Lono at home playing Ghost of Yotei. This game is something else. Nomination incoming. I think that's something that I was wrong about. I think it's getting an nom. Yo, what's good, Silent Spartan? I can't stand the weapons are in different positions from the first game. That's my only gripe. They should allow me to change. Oh, I don't disagree with that. I think that would be nice, Silent, to be able to switch where the weapons are on the thing. Wait, you can't do that? That's nowhere in the settings? I feel like that would be something in the settings. Yes, I will do more gameplay today. We will do a second stream of gameplay here shortly. Well, maybe not shortly. If the vibe has been pretty good, and we've been having a really good day just talking about it. So I appreciate you guys supporting, you know. You want to extend and just keep talking and vibing and having the talk show go. One way to do that is to crank the likes and get those gifteds going, and we just keep going some days. We've had really long talk shows. You all sound like a bunch of drug addicts. That's awesome. Says Zubair. Therefore, qualities about her, how capable she is, and when she allows herself to be vulnerable, make her feel very well realized. They did a good job. You can't find it. It must not be a setting in Silent Spartan. Maybe they'll add that later. There are settings for like a traditional targeting. So if you're having some issues with Ghost of Yotei gameplay, that you can actually adjust camera to the traditional, and you can turn on traditional targeting as well. I feel like that's one of the reasons people are having some issues with the camera. See before that. I also have a take here about Atsu, and I think there's more credit to Sucker Punch's character development, but she is more attractive the further you go. I don't mean in a sexual way or anything, but that she feels like an actualized person. I've had a couple of scenes where I've thought that, like, I think she's pretty. Like, I think there are times where you're like, oh, wow. You know, I just think it's one of those lighting things. It's one of those camera angle things. Like, her face sometimes looks a little awkward and a little like, you know, resting face, you know. Mighty Keith says he flipped on the Miki mode. Is that how you pronounce it? And I never looked back. So much more blood. It's definitely harder. And it's also definitely harder without the off-screen warnings. It was a longer statement, but it's part of the She's Uggo thing. And a single gifted comes in from Trey Gaming. He bumps a line to 513. He's like, come on. Many hands make light work. Adding to the total. Thank you so much. I really liked as well, and this is something that I really liked about the dual katana. So, like, this is definitely a part of my Ghost of Yotei review. The fact that that was a humbling experience for her. This is something that people commonly get, you know, frustrated by. Like a girl boss just shows up and is good as any. She's good as at everything, and there's no character development. She's not good at everything. She barely survives her first encounter with one of the Yōtei 6. Okay, and not only that, she's got work to do if she's going to be able to do this. And when she trains with homie with the dual katanas, it's like she's not very good at it. She's clumsy. That, I think, is excellent. That's really, really good building of a skill set being attached to the character's development as well. I like how those two things are intertwined. She and Aloy are very ugly. Yes, satire. Yes. Why do you think Expedition 33 has it on lock? I don't think it's a lock. The Game Awards this year is going to be very competitive. I think it has it on lock because of the degree to which it was praised and the degree to which it impacted people. I think when it comes time to vote, people are going to vote emotionally. And I think Expedition 33 has had a long-lasting and deep impact on people at an emotional level. I think it plucked at the heartstrings of every person that played it. And I think that is so much more. I've used the word potency a lot today. There's just a lot of potency to that. I think that's what's going to bring it across the finish line. The dual katana scene was very reminiscent to Pai Mei and Kill Bill. Very similar, yes. Am I the only one unbothered by her being a girl boss? Maybe we're defining that differently. No. She's pretty awesome. Right. No. An awesome girl character is not a girl boss, Sven. A girl boss is one who shows up, is arrogant, overly confident, and already good at everything. There's no development. They're just awesome from the minute, and everybody's just supposed to realize their greatness, and that's it. She can't be a girl boss with the way they've written this. Anybody that calls her a girl boss is a horrible literary critic, because she is flawed and rough and not as skilled as she needs to be from moment one. It's a journey of her not just going and killing. It's a journey of her. Yeah, Mary Sue is also a word that you would say that is. Just shows up and is awesome from moment one and doesn't need to improve at anything. A $10 super chat from Trey Gaming. At home today so I can do my part. Much respect to all you gamers. Let's go. So Trey Gaming says, everybody do your part. Let's get that member count up. Also, if you haven't hit the like button yet, hit it. We're at 250. Let's try to get to 300 likes. There are several high-quality games this year, but Expedition 33 is special. Yeah, it's just in its own category. What's the male version of that? Sounds like an OP character in general. I think there are versions of the Chosen One archetype, Sven, that can feel similar. Good versions of the Chosen One archetype is one that is reluctant to do it, believe it, or want it. good versions of the chosen one archetype is the one that is chosen but must improve in order to get there. Angry Pete's going to add to the total with a single gifted. Boom. 514. Thank you, Angry Pete. But you could certainly write a very boring chosen one archetype where the guy's just awesome and everything he does is very easy, right? Yeah, there are definitely stories that don't do enough in that regard. I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but no one could make that criticism of Atsu. If anybody makes that criticism of Ghost of Yotei, I guarantee you they'll be underhanded with their editing and they'll be underhanded with their representation. I'm 5 hours in, and it's been a rough journey for her, marked by near death, failure, clumsiness, and being humbled. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you guys are trying to channel a 50 bomb, you can spam that farty emote. That's what people do that. My son calls 50 bombs farty bombs. So you can certainly attempt to manifest it, as Matt is doing in chat right now. Yeah, there's a recklessness to her, but she learns. I think that's going to be one of the marks of her improvement, is that she starts to become more intelligent, more tactical, and less reckless, less arrogant. And I think part of that's going to be her having to learn how to use other weapons. I totally agree. Such flat archetypes exist, but I see the girl boss yada rhetoric at the first mention of a female being the protagonist. Yes, if she shows any sign of confidence or prowess, there are certainly dudes that'll be like, it's just a girl boss. I would think if anybody tries that with Ghost of Yotei, it'll be really difficult for them to make that case. There's ample amount of evidence that she is flawed, lacking in skill, lacking in ability. And that quite literally is a brilliant way of telling the story. So something that they did in Jedi Fallen Order, right? What did Reforge say that was wrong? This is going to be good. Oh, you're reacting to the thumbnail. Yeah, I already walked through everything that I got wrong about this. So in Jedi Fallen Order, they rather, I think, creatively have you leveling up by way of reconnecting with the Force. So they create a story reason for Cal Kestis to get stronger and have skill points. Okay? In Ghost of Yotei, they're doing something similar. She lacks skill and ability, and as she's training and getting better, you're getting things that you put into place and gear and skill points and what have you. Even if it's something as simple as reflecting at a shrine, that's her growing in this sense of calm and ability and not being this reckless, impatient force of anger. So, not so good then? What? I'm not sure what you're saying, Chris. What's not so good? The Odachi training is the only girl boss type situation I've encountered so far. Let's rewind the video. That's what I'm interested in, what you were wrong in. I can restate it now if you guys want to know. So, I said that I didn't think this game was going to get a Game of the Year nomination. I'm pretty sure I was wrong about that. I think it's going to. I didn't think the story was going to be that good. I was wrong. I think it's quite good. I didn't think it was going to outshine AC Shadows in graphical fidelity, and I believe that it has. I will concede that the water is better in AC Shadows, but the whole package of Yōtei, I think, is superior. Now, that's subjective. That's just my opinion. But that's something I was wrong about. The game has far exceeded my expectations. I did not expect it to land as strongly as it is. Those are the things I was wrong about. Lono thought he would like the game. He doesn't like it. He loves it. This is true. How to upgrade my membership on mobile? It's a pain in the butt. Try it in your browser, incognito, if you can. Oh, I was just being sarcastic. It's a thumbnail. It just felt like the thing to say. Oh, okay. Every Jason Statham movie is a boy boss movie, and nobody complains. Well, I mean, you could say John Wick is kind of that, but they established a background and a history to establish why he's such an expert killer and fighter. It's not just like he shows up and is that way. If you have somebody that's got that established backstory and lore, it's okay. That's the difference. When someone just shows up and is awesome at everything, that's a boring character. You want to see them progress. You want to see them improve. That's what we connect with and resonate with, and we take inspiration from that. I came across my first duel last night. He was using a katana and a spear alternating between both. I died like 9 times. It definitely challenges your skills as far as pairing and switching between the weapons. You can definitely feel her struggle in trying to master these skills and survive in the world. How is the game woke? Because it has a woman as the main character? Wait, did somebody in chat call it woke? I've not seen that this morning. Sony has not talked about sales yet. This game is a massive flop. Oh, there it is. This is what wokeness does to every single game. Yeah, it already has 10,000 reviews on PlayStation within the first day. I hate to break it to you, but that's usually a very good indication of commercial success. It also was at the top of like every pre-order chart in every region, so... Excuse me. They've not talked about sales yet. It's a flop. Okay. We'll check the sales charts. And, yeah. I'm sure your assessment will be just as accurate as it is intelligent. I think it'll be equal in accuracy and intelligence. How's it woke? It's quite literally not woke at all. Alapart coming in with a prime, 29 months. Almost forgot to do this. Yeah, guys, do your primes every month. We are exactly 10 members away from me owing you guys a member. It's been an effing day, a little effing day. Yeah, it's been one day. Little one question, are you afraid of losing Sony's endorsement? You understand that I can't get codes from Sony, right? I'm basically blacklisted, bro. Do you know that? I spent months reaching out to every contact I had at Sony. Not a single response. You know that, right? Now, that could be because of everything that happened in 2020. I could just be blacklisted because, people believe lies from 5 years ago that were falsified. That's entirely possible. It's a very small knit group of people that are very quick to, blacklist others. It also could be because I've been very openly critical of Sony and calling things they do dumb. So I don't know. I had to buy the game myself. Have I ever been sponsored? I don't think I've ever had a Sony sponsored anything. Not a game, not a product, not a nothing. She's not as refined as Jin is, at least not at first. It looks so beautiful. I can't get into it because the immersion breaking stuff, pre-animated kills, clipping through walls, floors. It feels like a cheap Ubisoft production. How many times have you typed that? Are you that desperate for dad's attention? Oh, just twice. Okay, there you go. Here's the attention that you ordered. Me laughing at you. A $10 super chat from Sneaky Wolf. Can you confirm if her brother was alive or dead in the beginning? If not, I have a theory and maybe sensing some foreshadowing from the training mode in the beginning. He's not alive. I don't think so. Hey, he was in a heap with the parents. I don't think so. I'm not seeing any of that. That was somebody on YouTube. Red Rider. Someone sound the troll horn. I told you. Listen to me, y'all. Just laugh at these people. Laugh at them. They're miserable people. It's such a stop having fun energy. It is. They are just miserable people. Laugh at them. Laugh and move on. They don't matter. I told you guys at the beginning of this year, I said they're going to pick bad targets, and the games that they're saying are going to flop are going to do very, very well. And it's been 10 months of pain for those folks. It has not been very good for them. It hasn't. Their batting average went into the toilet really quickly. It's not been a good year for them, all right? Check the sales charts. 2025, dude. Grand opening, grand closing. You trying to grift on the anti-woke thing in gaming? Ooh, not been a good year. It's just not, it's just not been a good year for their predictions. Stop having fun. The game did bad according to me. My sources, I made it the fuck up. Give us one example. How about 6? Do you want more than one example? They went after Monster Hunter Wilds. They went after Split Fiction. They went after Kingdom Come Deliverance. They went after AC Shadows. I don't know if I can give you 6. They went after Yōtei. There's 5. How's that suit you? What'd the 5 fingers say to the face? Not been a very good year. It just hasn't. Oh, it's been so unfortunate to see games you hate do well. Oh, it tastes like tears and failure. You're all mixed up. I know reading sales charts is difficult when your comprehension's that of somebody who can barely stack blocks, but reading those sales charts was easy work for me. It was like, oh wow, these games all did very well. It's just unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. I've seen somebody on Twitter saying that Ghost of Yotei sold 1.3 million copies so far. If that's true, it's selling better than Tsushima. Oh, I've not seen any sales reports. There'll be estimates, but we'll obviously have to wait. There's earnings reports. Those are public. There's the sales charts that'll hit when they do those. There'll be early estimates, so. Oh, yeah, let them go after Wolverine. It'll be glorious. Do it. Go after an Insomniac Marvel title. Go for it. Look at you go. Just keep going. But the budget and the market, they didn't make as much money as a gold salesman. So, yeah, okay. Go ahead. Pick that one next. I want you to. Go for it. Go after Wolverine. Oh, it'll be adorable. It'll be cute. Oh my gosh. It's like when a kitten smacks like a mastiff, like a big dog, and you're like, that's so cute and adorable. Look at him go. Go after a frickin' Insomniac Marvel title. It's not gonna flop. Okay. That's an interesting prediction. We'll see how it goes. Aloy's really ugly. You've seen that one, right? You've seen that Photoshop lie that they like to circulate. 38 million copies sold for the franchise. Oof. Oof. That one hurts, I think. That's tough. Stop trying to make Horizon a thing. What? What did you say? It's like one of their most successful franchises. I'm telling you, it's medicine. Laugh at them. That's all you should do. It's comical and pathetic. Just laugh at the whole thing. I said earlier this year, I was like, don't buy into it, boys. You just trust me on this. Trust me on this. They're going to pick bad targets. And boy, have they picked some doozies. The most ridiculous thing is PC Master Race, guys. And love it on PC. I mean, that just smacks of I'm not trying right now. Like when someone's losing a game, they're like, yeah, but I'm not really trying. You know, that feels like similar energy to me. I mean, if that's what you want to do, man, go ahead. That just feels like an inability to give a W. Like, why can't you give a W? You know what I mean? What's so hard about just giving a W? Like, great game. Looks amazing. Great scores. It's doing well. Like, just give the W. Like, have the spine and the integrity to just give a W to something. Like, that's great. That's a good game. That's awesome. Like, what the heck are we doing? Yeah, well, I'm just going to enjoy it better when I play it on my PC someday in the undetermined future timeline that we get it. Who the frick cares about that? Just give the game the W. It's clearly a good game. It's clearly doing well. People are having fun. Listen, if fun provokes something, if fun provokes animosity in your heart, boy, is that a big character flaw. You got to work on that. You got to maybe consider therapy. If people having fun and being excited and having a good time, if that provokes animosity in your heart, you got some heart work to do. That's a problem. All right? That's a problem. You got to work on that. Who's talking? And nobody. Just somebody came in and said, I've seen it. I've definitely seen it. You know, there's guys on Twitter like, yeah, I'll enjoy this when it comes to PC. It's like, okay. It's just immediately being divisive. It's like, come on, man. Just give the game a W. If you like games, it deserves a W. I can give a W to a game I've not played or even one I've put down. Why? Because it's clear when something is doing well and is being praised. I can be like, you know, I was critical of this, runbacks, whatever, Silksong. I can give the game the W that it deserves. It's clearly going to get a bunch of nominations. It's going to get a bunch of awards. The commercial success is undeniable. The community is very happy. They all seem to have liked it. There are people in the community being critical over things like the currency setup and the runbacks. But, you know, I can give that game the W and be like, I mean, why wouldn't I? People are having fun. Hey, you do know though, like I don't do that if somebody's really enjoying that. I don't have this. I'm not provoked to animosity if somebody's enjoying something. I think that's very strange. I understand what you said, Chris. What did Chris say? I'm looking for him in chat. Where is he? My old eyes are failing me here. My special eyes. I never understood the woke complaints outside of maybe too many women. What? But once you legitimize the few arguments, the floodgate seems to open. Wait, hold on, Chris. You've never understood the complaints outside of maybe too many women and black people in games? The fuck you say? What? Do you want to clarify your statement? Do you want to clarify? Like, just take a second to gather yourself here. Like, are you saying that that's a legitimate complaint? Like, there's just too many. Oh, what's the number? You know what I'm saying? What's the number if that's your take? Like, can you put it, like when you're at a restaurant, do you have a number? Like, what's it take to ask for you to be seated in a different section of the restaurant? Tell us. Wear it. Wear it. I mean, we want to know. We're just trying to get to know you. But if that's your position, I don't know if that's your position. Dear Lord. It's too many. Holy mackerel. Yeah, Ghost. All these black people and women running around. Holy frick. Yes, clarify. So I could see that being seen to be a legitimate complaint. So sympathetically towards certain attitudes, over sympathetic, but that's the point. If you sympathize, it gets worse. You gotta elaborate. Okay, so you think there could be a legitimate complaint about too many women or black people in games? What do you mean? Like, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Like, what game do you feel like that would be a legitimate complaint in? I was literally hoping that he was saying that, like, no, there are some legitimate complaints, and that's not one of them. Like, I was hoping he had just flipped his words around. Chris F. says, as another Chris, I disavow that comment. Oh, I don't understand. What's the game? What's the context? What's the number? Like that? What would drive you to say that's a legitimate complaint? I'm trying. This is hard. No, there is no legitimate complaint, but the argument I've heard is it's pandering, which pandering is a real concern, but not necessarily pandering. Okay. No, okay. If you're referring to, like, race swap pandering, I think that is a thing that is done sometimes. I think it's very disingenuous. I think it's super cheesy, right? Anytime I've had this conversation, most of the time, I will never and don't have the ability to speak for black men. But the black men I've spoken to a lot of times are like, don't do that. That's not what we want. That's stupid and chintzy. There tends to be universal agreement that ends up looking kind of dumb. I don't think that's really happened in gaming. I can't think of an example. I can't think of an example where they were like, this character's black now. Like, I don't feel like they've done that. I think we're all in agreement, maybe not, but I think a lot of us are in agreement that, like, it can be done in a really cheesy, pandering, and in a very cheap way, right? I can't think of an example in gaming where they've done that, where they've done like a cheap race swap form of pandering. I don't know when you would pull that gun from the holster and be like, yep, that game right there did it. I don't really think you can. I'm not speaking for them. I'm saying, in my experience, when this conversation has come up, I've had people say, I don't like that. As a black man, I don't like that. That's cheesy. I've not had a single one say that to me about gaming. I don't think I've ever had any of the members of the community here or any of the outspoken dudes on, like, Twitter and stuff ever say, oh yeah, that's race swap pandering. I've never seen that. I've seen people get angry about, like, where they feel that they'll call it DEI, forced diversity. That's not the same. That's not the same as somebody saying, oh, you swapped the character in order to pander. I'm curious what game, as a black man, is often a key sign that the person typing is fact not a black man. No, these are people that I trust, Omar, that are like, there have been times in movies, I think, and in race swap situations, some of the men that I've spoken to on this, in this environment, have been like, that's stupid. We don't want that. That feels chintzy and dumb. Like, you think that's all it takes for me to want to go see a movie? Like, just put a black dude in it. Like, what the frick? Like, I don't feel like I've seen that as a complaint lobbied within gaming, though. That's why I guess people might think it's a blurred line issue of some sort. It's just indefensible most times it's been claimed, but like under certain conditions it might seem forced. So you're saying most of the time people have complained about this, you're saying it's not been legitimate, but you're saying under certain conditions it could seem forced. Dante says, I'm a black guy. I don't like when minority groups are added to a game like a checklist. I would prefer the creator of some work want them to be there. I coined the phrase diversity dust. I think sometimes it's so see-through and so obvious, it's a bit much. Like, I think it was in Rings of Power, like the little entourage of the elves that set out on their mission. It was a bit much. It was like black man, Asian woman. Like, it was like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this? Like, it seemed too see-through. It just felt like diversity does. It was like, well, you know, we gotta have diversity. And I was like, come on, man. Like, it's clear in the books and these situations that would be really odd. Like, what are we doing? But in general, I've not seen that as a complaint lobbied in gaming. In gaming, it's the minute they see a woman or a minority, they go DEI and they get angry. Right? And it's like, but how do you know? What are you talking about? That was like the people that tried to propagate the claim that like South of Midnight was race swapped. And I'm like, what the frick are you even saying? Like, that was one that I thought was like, what? That's idiotic. People tried the same thing with Ghost of Yotei. 100% these grifters tried to claim that they had been told that it was a gender swap and it was going to be a man. And it was like, there's no evidence of that. You're making that up. That's totally fabricated. People claimed Horizon's world was forced diversity because they didn't understand how the world and the tribes were formed. Yeah, there was actual lore and background, and it made perfectly good sense in that environment to have that. I'm waiting for an example from Chris. So my Trill. I think if someone felt that was being pushed, it might undermine trust in the product or the brand. Have you seen a game, Chris, where you have felt like it was legitimate criticism? That they were doing some kind of forced diversity thing and it felt like pandering? Do you have an example of a game where you felt like they did that? I don't feel like any of the games that have been attacked for this, I don't feel like they've been fair examples. I don't. I feel like it's been very, very... What's funny is, ironically, I feel like the criticism has been forced. I don't feel like I've seen a single game where they ham-fisted it in. Other than Tash in Veilguard, I think is the best example of like present-day nonsense just absolutely ham-fisted into the game and written terribly. That whole non-binary thing in Veilguard was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And the top surgery scars. I will always admit that was some nonsensical present-day BS just shoved into a game. Like, it had no place. It didn't make any contextual sense. It didn't even seem a part of the world. It seemed 100% like, this is what people do in 2024. Shove it in the game. I was like, what the frick are you doing? That's the only examples that I can think of where I feel like there was some very obvious present-day stuff just forced. I don't see it in Ghost of Yotei at all. I don't see it in any of the games that people have gotten very upset about. I think Mass Effect by design required a kind of forced diversity, but I don't think it felt forced. It was a living future world. It needed diversity realistically. Right. So you're giving us an example of it being done in a good way. Do you have an example of it being done in a bad way? A $5 super chat from Siriu. Life is so much better when you're not making race tallies for everything you watch. Exactly. Insomniac Black coming in with a VIB. Do cause a record scratch at the cookout. I understand what he's talking about and agree. He can get some potato salad. Thank you for the VIP and being charitable, Insomniac. Deadshot and Kill the Justice League? I don't remember what they did with Deadshot that would make you say that. Most egregious pandering we have seen recently was the original Yasuke music in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Record scratch at the cookout. You playing records? I mean, I would have. No, I'm not going to say it. Oh. I'll give you Exhibit A. Yeah, Concord felt like they were trying to check every box. I would say that's true. Concord felt very artificial. It did. It felt very artificially diverse. And you had pronouns for robots and aliens. That was stupid. Here's somebody from an alien world that perfectly aligns with our view of pronouns as well as gender. What? I'm sorry, what? What the frick? He's green. He's from another planet. He's got 8 eyes. What are you doing? That was idiotic. I'll agree. That was idiotic in Concord. It was stupid. It made no sense. Yeah, and that game existed for 2 weeks. That wasn't pandering, though. That was misguided marketing and trying to be cool. Yes. The hip-hop, when Yasuke was on screen from the AC Shadows trailer, was what I call Michael Scott racism. There's no malice in it. It was just, and just an idiot. Just an idiot. Like, what are you doing, bro? It was more stupid than it was malicious. Okay, I think we can say that. Omar with a $5 super chat. I'm just a black and Cuban man trying to enjoy a game as a Japanese woman. That's good. That's good. Eugene says, I think bad representation gets confused with forced representation a lot. It's a bit of a Venn diagram, though, isn't it, Eugene? If you force it, it's probably going to be bad representation, right? If you force it. Like some of what they did in Rings of Power felt very forced. It was like, what is this? Dustborn? How is Dustborn an example of that? Like, if really... So, just track with me on this. I have no interest in playing that game, and I thought it looked terrible. But I think they're free to make the game because why would they not? Like, if a very, very, like, liberal, progressive person wants to make a video game representing their view of the world and what they think, what's the problem with that? I think the complaints are just when it enters into a world where it makes no sense. Like, I think that's when I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. Like what they did with Tash and Veilguard. Like, stupid. Makes no sense. Nonsensical. Bad writing. So if we talk about Ghost of Yotei, since that's today's subject, I think Ghost of Yotei has rather excellently avoided a lot of those trappings of like, she's a girl and she's awesome. Like, what? No. They're not doing that. They're doing quite the opposite of that, which I think really speaks to the game's quality. It really speaks to the story's quality. Do you see? Like, that I think is relevant to today's discussion. Guys, really quickly, by the way, if you're enjoying the discussion, it's staying charitable, it's staying lighthearted, fun, and enjoyable. I think we can kind of talk about these things in a way that is a little bit more lighthearted. I'm going to have to go upstairs really quickly, though. Smash the like button. I'll be right back. Oh, the bottle is so cool. We got this for tonight. Very on brand, very on theme. We got some sake. It's even like the right colors for the game. It's black and gold. Here, we'll move the mask. Well, now I don't want to put this on the corner of the desk. That's a bad idea. We're not going to do that. We're going to put it right next to me. That's clean. Isn't that nice? Like, I can already hear Madam. She's going to be like, she's literally going to say, she's like, that bottle is so cute. She's going to say it just like that. She's like, that bottle is so cute. This is your favorite sake? Well, we got this for tonight. I tell you what, if you guys want to do a double header, I can do this. We can do this again tomorrow night. Well, maybe if you want to do more Yōtei, more sake tomorrow night instead of community game night, we can make that the stretch goal as well. I'll leave it up to you guys. If we hit stretch, I will let you decide what we do. You got a bit of a ways to go though if you want to do it. You guys are going to have to hustle if you want to get to 750. Super Googly with a super chat says, cheers, Lono. Who else is here to witness Bitcoin? I'm not paying attention to it. Voyager with 26 months says, double dip. Bam, 517. Thank you, Voyager, for bumping the line with a renewal. What were you wrong about? I thought that the game had no shot at getting a Game of the Year nomination. I was wrong about that. I didn't think the story was going to be very good. I was wrong about that. I didn't think the game would exceed my expectations and be as good, if not maybe even a little bit better than Tsushima. I was wrong about that. Yeah, Googly didn't insult Nintendo. I don't know what happened to him. I thought we knew him. You know? I thought we knew him. One time we were at a Japanese restaurant and they offered us sake and she said, no thanks, I don't like sushi. She thought it was fish. Oh, man. Earlier, the dude claimed that Ubisoft was hiding Shadows sales. That was false. They stopped reporting in August. In July, Shadows was the third best-selling game of the year. Yeah, it's at the top of the sales charts. These people are idiots. Like, just laugh at them. You know when you watch a movie and the main character is a woman and you can tell men somehow hold it back a bit because of it? Yeah, in Yōtei they don't care. Their swords are rated E for everyone. Sometimes people have an off day. Super Googly has earned some grace. He has. He has. Guys, if you've been tuning in for some Ghost of Yotei coverage, I've been kind of walking through my Ghost of Yotei review, kind of an in-progress one. We will be diving in to Ghost of Yotei later in a separate stream for more gameplay. I can't wait. I'm being patient. I'll also be playing it tonight with my wife, just hanging out. We got some sake. I've never had sake before. It'll be my first time, and it even kind of matches the game. And you guys earned that. You earned this with this goal down here in the corner, and you can earn a double header, and we'll do it again tomorrow night if you can get it to the stretch goal. That's how you guys unlock extra content on the channel. We do constant uploads and live streams, but we do extra content on the weekend when you guys hit the goals. $2 super chat from Joker Quinn. He says, Nintendo sucks. Ruin that too. Champagne with a Member Plus renewal over here on YouTube. Thank you so much. It gets us to 518. What brand is the sake? This is I'm not going to say this right. Gekkiken Black and Gold. Is it sake? Is it sake or sake? I don't actually know. I don't actually know how you're supposed to say it. Also, we have a poll on the channel, and we've already done some gameplay if you guys missed it. Currently, the poll has Usually our polls do a lot better than this, but maybe people aren't voting because they're not playing. 812 votes. Most people voting for dual katanas. I'm kind of surprised the Odachi didn't run away with it, but... Sake. Okay. Sake. Is that... Are you supposed to do it like that? Do you think? Is that... I want to make sure and do it exactly right if I ever go and order it. If I ever go and order it, is that what they're expecting? Can I get some sake? Like, I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. It's not Italian, Lono. Need to get to Odachi first. I just unlocked the spear area. Nice. Too much. It's too much. I need to dial it back a little bit. Yeah. I need to dial it back a little bit. Oh my golly. Like the fawns. Somebody caught it. I like the fawns. Googly with another super chat says, Nintendo is such a joke at this point. I don't need to preach no more. Okay. Yes. If you define a joke by having a very successful console and highly praised game launches, yes, you are correct. They are joking it up out here. Oh, drink the sake hot? I'm not going to do that. I'll just try it as is, and then maybe after I do that, we'll try it heated up. I was chasing one of the Yōtei 6 last night. It has story revolves around the Yōtei member that was terrorizing the region, met new characters and stuff. It's not just a simple killing the dude. Yeah, I think they've done a good job with the story. I really do. Has Googly found a new purpose in life? Change is scary, even good change. Yeah, all is right with the world. That's right. Delicious, chilled, room temperature, or even warm, as commended by the 2024 National Warm Sake Contest in Japan, where it was the only entry from outside Japan to be awarded grand gold. Oh, so this type that you recommended has won awards. That's good to know. It's not good cold? Well, I'm not going to be drinking it cold. It was in a contest. And it said chilled, room temperature, or even warm. This particular brand is good all three ways. Yeah. Well, I'll try it room temp, and then if we feel like we want to try and heat it up, we'll look into how you're supposed to do that. Let's see. All right. We still are, we're still kicking here. There's no reason to really shift just yet. Let's see. Let's think about this. What's another thing with Ghost of Yotei? Okay, yeah, we could talk about this one. So, I made the point in my script, in my argument, that some of these games that we praise are starting to show age. Why do you guys think... I'm actually kind of curious about this. Why do we consistently see, Red Dead Redemption 2 cited as this unbeatable game in the realm of graphics? Like, where do you think that comes from? Do you think it's genuine? Or do you think there's something else going on? Because, I obviously have my own thoughts and theories. By the way, we just got to 300 likes. Keep hitting that thumbs up. It really, really helps. Will it get Game of the Year nods? I think so, yes. That's one of the things I think I was wrong about. Reckless Gambit with 39 months says, the best way to enjoy sake is the way that you enjoy it most, like any liquor. This is correct. Thank you so much for 519. Yeah, because, I enjoy bourbon neat, but a lot of people want it on the rocks, Or they'll cut it with water, which you're supposed to use limestone filtered water if you do that. Which nom gets knocked out this year? Now that you think Yōtei will get one? I honestly don't know. If Ghost of Yotei gets a Game of the Year nomination, I'm not sure which game it'll take it from. I really don't know. It's so tough. You still think it's a masterpiece? I don't think I'm trying to take away from it being a masterpiece. I'm just curious why it gets invoked in these conversations. People act like nothing can ever look better than it. Lona, without naming names, can you elaborate about any certain rule put in place when you get a review copy of a game? What you can and can't say? I don't think I have ever been granted review access and been given directions about what I can or can't say. I don't think I've ever seen that. Zubair says, it's an exceptionally good-looking game that doesn't need an XX90 class card to look good. Most people haven't seen Path Traced Alan Wake 2. I think that's a pretty good observation from Zubair, that like a lot of people can enjoy and experience a good-looking Red Dead 2, but maybe not a lot of people can enjoy like the height of Cyberpunk or Alan Wake on a beastly PC, or AC Shadows or Yōtei on a PS5 Pro. So to them, they're just like, they're looking at a clip on Twitter like this. Well, it doesn't look any better than Red Dead. Like, I wonder if it is. I don't think it's an accurate opinion. I think it's inaccurate. I think that game has started to finally show its age. But I do think you can objectively say there are games now that look better, that are doing texture better, lighting better, world detail, foliage behavior. I think you can say these are better. It's not a matter of preference. I think objectively these things can be measured and analyzed. There is a higher level of detail in newer games now, and Red Dead's starting to show its age a little bit. Nick says, my final Game of the Year 6 are... It might have been a really long list, Nick. I'm not seeing anything if you copied and pasted. You might have to break it into two parts. I feel like for Game of the Year, so if Ghost of Yotei is now included, I think it's included. It's Expedition, Silksong, Hades, Ghost of Yotei, I feel like are your 4 guarantees. So, yeah, Nick's not agreeing. Nick's not putting Yotei. He says Expedition, Kingdom Come, Silksong, Bonanza, Death Stranding 2, Split Fiction. I think Yotei could knock... I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what could happen. I think Yotei could knock Death Stranding out of the running for Game of the Year. I know Kojima stands tall, but the PlayStation vote, I think both of them being up there is going to be tough. I think both of them being up there is going to be tough. And as far as elevating one sequel to the next, man, you could make a case for both, honestly. You could make a case for both. I think both Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Yotei have heavily elevated the craft of the sequel. But, man, I won that bet. What bet? What happened to Metacritic being too low? So, the more I reflected on this, and I went and looked at the Metacritic, if you remove the 9... and you look at the over 100 positive reviews, there's just too many really, really high degree of praise reviews out there, as well as technical praise, and now the users overwhelmingly praising it. I think that's going to be enough votes to get a nomination. I don't think the score on Metacritic is wholly determinative because there are just so many good reviews for it. And I think the impact of Yōtei, especially having a little bit of recency, is going to help it. Now, recency doesn't knock something off, but I think recency can help put something up there, if that makes sense. Nick says, I think one of the two get nominated, but not both. I agree with you. I think it's really tough for both of them to get up there. Kojima's God, we're not worthy, we're not worthy. Listen, I like Kojima, and I really loved Death Stranding 1, and I enjoyed Death Stranding 2. I think his approach to writing is really overrated. He's creative. I don't think he's the best writer. I mean it. I think he's really creative, but I think his writing style, hurts his execution. I also think he's really overindulgent. He showed way too much of Death Stranding 2. There were some immense pivotal moments, and he showed like the whole scene. He didn't show like a split second, so you're like, yeah, I wonder what happens there. It was like, yeah, this is literally the beginning, middle, and end of this very pivotal scene in the game. Why the frick did you show me that? Like, there was he robbed his game of a lot of potency, I think. Kojima's overhyped. I don't like the word overrated. I feel like people use overrated for something that's really good and people really like it, and just because you don't like it, you're like, it's overrated. But like, I don't think his writing is particularly good. I don't think it's his strong point. I think his strong suit is he has a very, very creative vision. He's very prolific. And I also think he's very innovative. I don't think he's a very good writer. And some of that could be language. Some of it could be language. I don't know. If you know, his native thought, tongue, and speech pattern is Japanese, and that may make it harder for his writing to land. That's a possibility. Maybe that's why his games feel very wooden in their writing, because we're getting some of the beauty and nuances getting lost in translation. That's possible. But yeah, I think Yōtei at this point, I think Yōtei has a better shot, even though its score is lower. I think Yōtei has a better shot, even though its score is lower than Death Stranding. Haven't you said the structure is very basic? It's about more than just the dialogue. Yeah, it is about more than just the dialogue. He's not particularly good at foreshadowing or surprises or hints. He just sort of like lets you know. He's like, huh? Yeah. You know what's coming. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know what's coming. It's like, well, there's no mystery here. It's super obvious. You're going to see an unprecedented tie between the two. They're going to say, and the winner is Ghost of Stranding 2. That's right. Death Yōtei 2. Death Stranding 2 got more 10 out of 10s, though, aggregate-wise. That helps its chances mathematically, yeah. Mathematically, that helps its chances. That's more people that are likely to vote for it. Yo, so Hale coming in with the Member Plus. Is that an upgrade or a renewal? That takes us to 520. We're exactly a 5 bomb away from the next milestone. Guys, we've been talking Ghost of Yotei. We've been talking about my Ghost of Yotei review. It's an in-progress review. I will be diving into gameplay shortly. He said Death Stranding 2 was purposely obvious. Yeah. So after I watched The Happening, and many of us watched The Happening, and we were like, that was crap. And then we realized that M. Night made it crappy on purpose, like a B movie. It didn't elevate it. It didn't. Getting to credits on Death Stranding 2 and Kojima being like, oh no, it was on purpose. I made it super obvious and making the overshadowing super intentional and see-through. Yeah, that was all on purpose. Okay, that doesn't make it any better. I'm not suddenly like, oh, I enjoyed it more now. That was one of my concerns about the story in Ghost of Yotei, is it was just going to be too on the nose, too predictable, too cliche, too stereotypical as a revenge story. And it hasn't. It hasn't been. It's been excellently done. And I think it's better. So far, I think it's better than the way the story played out in Death Stranding 2. It was just like, I don't know. I really, really liked Death Stranding 2. I put a lot of time into the game, and I enjoyed it. But I think the story just really, really fell flat for me. It just was not as strong as I wanted it to be. I didn't upgrade or renew. Might be too early in the morning coffee, or I might have missed. Yeah, I mean, I can add it. Raven. I can add one. If Sohail responded, let me guys know. Let me know, guys. I can't talk. Those unspoken moments in movies where the character's face or a pause between dialogue tells a more deeper story than you could by just saying the thing. It's so much better than how Kojima does things. Yo, it's good. How are you, Dirty Dulay? How you doing? Good to see you. I'll quit gaming if a game where people spend 40 hours building roads wins Game of the Year. It's a good game, though. It is creative. Just because I'm being critical of his writing doesn't mean it's not a very good game and isn't innovative and creative and technically impressive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. I get where you're coming from. You know, you're being a little tongue-in-cheek. But he did build a really good game that got really good reviews. Joke's on you. I spent 50 hours building roads. There it is. Okay. Let me check back here. Yeah, okay. Let's do this. That should be good. I can't decide which thumbnail I like more. I'm going to do a divergence from yesterday. I'm going to make it look a little bit different than yesterday's. Oh, I've already done it. I've already saved the thumb. Let me schedule. We'll do gameplay in about 30 minutes. We're still kicking. We're still kicking. But once we go to gameplay, the goal pretty much comes to a screeching halt. Because we're not in talk show. So if you guys are going to get this done, you got about 35 minutes, roughly. Okay. And set it for 1:30. Yōtei feels like the music feels like an old Western. It does have a very like old Western. It has a Tarantino vibe to it as well, not just Kill Bill. I think like Tarantino in general. I will say I changed the melee camera to Tsushima Classic and it is much better. I'm glad that helped you. I saw people complaining about it this morning and I was unaware of that solution. Someone put that solution in our chat. In our Discord. I'm not sure who that was, but I'm glad that helped you. It's never fun playing a game that you're enjoying that has that kind of a rough edge. That rough edge can start to really feel like, you know, death by 1,000 paper cuts. It can start to really rub you the wrong way, you know, which is, I think, totally fair to be like, man, you know, I just wish this one thing. So that's good if that helped out. Tarantino loves samurai stuff. He does. He loves samurai stuff. He seemingly is a fan of Westerns. He's influenced by Kurosawa. Well, there you go. It makes sense then. Okay. I check, and nearly every higher rated game than Yōtei has more 10 out of 10, so your argument doesn't hold stats-wise. I've not made an argument stats-wise. I've made an argument that's more emotional. I feel if you look at all of the positive reviews for Yōtei, the impact that Yōtei had on people, the degree of praise that they have for the game, both technical and experiential, I think holds more weight than, but we gave this game a 10. Do you understand? So, like, as an example, the fact that, like, an outlet gave, like, Death Stranding 2 a 10, okay? I think the way that Yōtei has been spoken about, the praise, the emotional impact, the writing, the soundtrack, all of it, I think the way that Yōtei's been spoken about is just different. I don't like, so, like, let's take this as an example. Like, let's say an outlet gave Death Stranding 2 a 10, and they gave Yōtei a 9. I think as a package, as a complete package, there's something that's going to be more memorable about Yōtei. I'm arguing something similar for Expedition 33. Expedition 33 isn't just going to win because it has more 10s. I have never argued that. I've never argued the score. I've argued the emotional impact of Expedition 33 is why it will win. It hit people too hard. It's too memorable. The writing is so bland and generic, I don't understand how people are praising it. What you're saying, Yōtei's bland and generic, or Death Stranding 2? We were just talking about both. Looks like Kurosawa said he was directly influenced by Westerns, and then Westerns borrowed from samurai films they developed in parallel. Yōtei? I feel like Yōtei's writing has been right where it needs to be. I think it's been good. It hasn't been like, you're 10 hours in, it's not grabbing me at all. That's subjective. I'm talking about the people that are going to be voting. I mean, you're saying you don't understand why people like it so much. They would probably think the same thing. They would be like, how are you not enjoying it as much as we did, right? That's just a difference of opinion. When I'm arguing the nomination thing, I'm just observing the way people have spoken about these games, and I'm making a prediction. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm saying the way that people have spoken about Yōtei, there seems to be more emotional potency behind what they're saying. When people are talking about Death Stranding 2, it's more like it's another great Kojima, masterpiece. And I don't know if that has the same emotional impact. They're almost just like, how do I want to say this? It's almost like they're respecting the artistry and the craft that Kojima brings. And with Yōtei, it was like an experience that they loved and they didn't want to put it down. Do you see the difference? Like, I see a categorical difference in how these games have been spoken about. High praise, insanely good score for Death Stranding 2. It feels like a lot of those reviews were like appreciating the craft, right? The craft that Kojima brings. That's not the, when you go to vote for Game of the Year, I think a lot of people are going to remember more of like, there was an emotional, immersive impact that Yōtei seemed to have on people. Even though its score is not as strong, it doesn't have as many 10s. But if there's more emotional potency, that should reflect in the scores, right? Not necessarily. No, not necessarily. Because again, Kojima's got the respect of like the craft that he brought and the technical prowess and the creativity that he brings. Again, I feel like it's almost like he's being judged as a creator less than the game's being judged as a game. Does that make sense? I feel like a lot of people reviewed Death Stranding 2 and they were reviewing Kojima. They were reviewing him as a creator rather than the game as a game. Death Stranding 2 cut me deep. It didn't hit me at all. It was so flat to me. Maybe that's because I was coming out of Expedition 33 earlier in the year and I thought it was far more impactful with the topic of grief. And since it was super obvious what was going on in Death Stranding 2, I just didn't... It just didn't hit. Why is emotional potency a strong point than all the other things Death Stranding 2 is praised for? I just think that's how people are going to vote. I'm making a prediction based on how I think people will vote. I think they will vote more on emotional impact. It's why I think Expedition 33 is unbeatable. I don't think anybody can beat it. It created something. It stuck with people. It hung in the air. There were memes. The soundtrack trended because people just didn't want to let it go. They wanted to keep feeling the feels. I think emotion will drive votes stronger than respect for technical prowess. Do you see? Like, if a movie hits you in the feels and scores okay, and another movie is highly praised for the cinematography and the excellence in framing and writing and pacing and blah, 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 you might remember the emotional impact of one movie more. It has nothing to do with the score or the critics. You see what I'm saying? Like, I just think that's how people are going to vote. I think they're going to vote based on emotion. I think games should be judged for all of its aspects. Well, see, but I'm not arguing that the game shouldn't be judged by all of its aspects. That's not what I'm saying. I am making a prediction of human behavior. I'm saying that I think people will vote based on emotion. I'm not saying how they should. I'm not creating imperatives. They ought or ought not to judge this way. I'm not saying that. I'm saying votes will come from emotion and memory. The potency of the memory of like, oh, that game was, oh my gosh. That's why Expedition 33 will win handedly. Expedition 33 is a great game, but it's far from perfect. But the AA budget narrative and emotional attachment raised the score. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. This is true. I agree, emotional impact is more important on a personal level, but if we are grading on a scale, it's Expedition 33 all day. Yes, this is why it will win. I believe it. Yōtei was the final straw with me watching mainstream reviews. There are several things that turned me off that 95% of the reviews don't mention about the game. I just don't trust reviews anymore. What? Okay, I'm just trying to understand your position here, because your position seems very, very off kilter. So you're saying that because reviews didn't dislike something that you dislike, you don't trust them? Like, if somebody likes their steak well done, I wouldn't trust them either. That sounds like a psychopath, right? They're ruining the meat and they're burning it. Okay, so I kind of understand where you're coming from. So they didn't criticize something that you've been critical of. What, that would make you not trust them? There have been people consistently critical of the mini games and like the DualSense gimmicks in the game, and I actually think they're great. That shouldn't make you not trust me. Like, if you're in that camp, I think that's fair. You should calibrate whether reviews match your preferences. If they don't, then they lack value. That doesn't create lack of trust, though. That creates lack of value. Like, that's a different thing. Like, those reviews aren't helpful in me making up my mind is different than saying, oh, I don't trust them. Like, the lack of trust makes it seem like they're not trustworthy. That's why I took issue with his framing wasn't like, yeah, they just don't give any value to me. They don't frame things the way that I frame them. They don't see games the way that I see games. It was, yeah, I don't trust them. Almost as if there's something underhanded going on. 100% agreed, Lono. The best way to play Elden Ring was the PS4 version on the PS5 for months, and it didn't affect the emotional impact that the game had. This is exactly correct. Where I get lost in the reviews is when stuff like DK Bonanza gets 10s, but Yōtei's gets 8s, and Expedition 33 also gets 10s. No one has emotional attachment to a DK game. Xbots have no shame. Instead of blaming Phil and leadership, they would rather take it out on my brother Tim. He did nothing but tell you goofy effers the truth. Wait, did Tim get suspended on Twitter? He was doing normal tweeting. What did he do? Did they just mass report him? My mom likes her steak well done. On God, Lono. She scares me sometimes. Listen, Dark Taco. I'm here to tell you, okay? You were in danger most of your life, all right? I mean, when some parents say, I brought you into this world and I can take you out of this world, they don't mean it. She meant it. Like, I hope that doesn't complicate your relationship. I mean, the holidays are coming up, but I mean that's you were in danger, bro. Ratings are a squishy thing. There's no universal view of what they represent. They only hope it's to over large enough number something objective arises. Okay, hang on. Cobra Kai says, no, I mean, reviews never mention the bad stuff in the games. Not just Yōtei, but I've been burned too many times where I feel like the huge flaws are magically no one mentions them. 100% my mom meant it. I don't think my parents ever meant it. I don't know if that's a difference between y'all's parents and mine. Who do you mean, y'all? You know. I wonder if there is a difference there. You know? Like, is that threat more real? I think it's I do. I think it's more real. You know. I think it's more real. I could be wrong. I don't know. But I never really thought that was a real threat. I thought, yeah, right. You know. There was a really funny, it was a tweet or a post once I read. This guy said he was walking through the grocery store and he said this mom yelled so loud, "Put that down." And he said she yelled it with such force that I almost felt like I needed to put down what I was holding. And I was like, I could hear the tweet. I could hear it. I'm like, yeah, I'd be a little nervous too. I'd be like, is she talking to me? Like, I might be in trouble right now. It's 100% more real. Okay, I thought so. I mean, I don't want to speak for y'all. I don't want to speak for y'all, but I'm like, I think it's a little more real, man. Like, I wouldn't call that bluff. I mean, I called my parents' bluff on that. I'm like, yeah, right. You know? Yeah, right. Game Awards looking competitive? It is looking competitive. What were you wrong about? I didn't think the game was going to get a Game of the Year nomination, and I didn't think the story or its, as a game, I didn't think it was going to land nearly as strong as it did. It's far exceeded my expectations, and I believe now that it will get a nomination. Listen, I could end up being wrong in my prediction. I'm just changing my position. I'm like, I think I was wrong on this, man. This thing's got a nomination. Dark Taco says, I wouldn't dare call that bluff. Mm-hmm. Snatch you up right out of that chair, they would. Oh, man. James Stewart, you're welcome. You're welcome. Guys, make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're celebrating your renewals. In about 20 minutes, we're switching gears. We're switching to gameplay. So if you're going to try to get your double header incentive here, if you're not aware, you guys hit the goal. So somebody recommended that we buy some sake to celebrate tonight. We'll do some more Yōtei. We'll hang out with Madam. You can get a double header, and we can do another stream tomorrow night. But you got to hit stretch goal to do that. I do not stream on the weekends, so that is an extra thing that we do. It's like an unlock, and I think that's fair. I think that's I can justify it and say, hey, you guys earned an extra stream. That's crazy when you guys are that generous. So you want to rally the troops, get the big boys, renewals, upgrades, and gifted trains going. You got a little bit of time. Once I'm in gameplay, it usually comes to a halt. So you're running out of time if you guys want to do that. Performance is something that a lot of people don't address. Oh, I mean, I see all these outlets are afraid to be negative. I mean, there's an element of truth to what you're saying. There is. Do you personally feel better about the game, or are you commenting on public perception? Both. Public perception. Yeah, both. My enjoyment of the game is far above what I thought it was going to be. Dead 718 with a 33-month renewal gets us to 522. We are 3 away from me owing you guys a member. Every 25, I gift one back. Like, if you use armor with a dual katana perk that limits you to only that weapon when you need to switch weapons depending on the enemy, making the build useless for the other 3 weapons. Same bird and fox stuff, no transmog. Okay. Again, I don't think that's a reason to not trust the review outlets. Number 1, armor with a dual katana perk that limits you to only that weapon. It sounds like that's something that you might put on for a duel that's giving you trouble, where the dual katana would be particularly lethal. But in your open world exploration and your adapt on the fly combat style, you wouldn't want that. All that stuff, and no one magically mentions any of it. And I don't mean you, I mean big review channels. Plenty of reviews mention some of that stuff, though. I don't know. I feel like there was at least a couple reviews that I read that said, like, the open world very much repeats a lot of the tropes of the first game. In some of the more tepid reviews, like a 3 out of 5 stars review, they mentioned that. I mean, those things being repeated, I would actually argue and push back on your position and say that you should expect those things to repeat. It's the sequel. Like, if there were open world things in Horizon Zero Dawn that showed up again in Horizon Forbidden West, and you're critical of that, I would say that's a pretty weak criticism. I would say you should probably expect that. Right? Like, I feel like your criticism doesn't make sense to me. It's like, yeah, of course those things are going to repeat. Like, oh, I can't believe there are, bamboo and shrines again. Like, huh? Building into something causing you to be weaker and another is not a negative. Yeah, that's a weird criticism as well. Like, it sounds like the armor is built for a particular thing. Yeah, Borderlands 4 releases broken and no reviews mention it. I bought Dying Light, the Beast, at launch, and every review said it ran great, but it had a memory leak. We're kind of getting into buckshot territory, so it's hard for me to interact with everything that you're saying. I don't know if it's true that Borderlands 4 had no reviews mentioning performance problems. They only gave PC reviews, and I feel like it was mentioned in some of the reviews that I read. I could be incorrect. Dying Light the Beast having a memory leak at launch. Okay, I don't know if I didn't read the reviews of that. So I don't know. To maintain that every review of these games didn't mention performance, there's a part of me that agrees with you, so I want to start there. I do agree with you. There are times where review outlets overlook performance issues, and I think there's a justification for that, but I also think it's one of the glaring flaws with the review circuit, okay? So first, why is there justification for it? Let's take Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor was a good game, well written, excellent evolution of the franchise, and yet it had significant performance issues at launch. Well, I think a reviewer is justified in saying, I don't want to take a bunch of points off for stuff that they're going to fix. It's not the writing, it's not the action, the combat, the story, the world. It's performance issues that they'll fix. I don't want to lambaste a game and give it a 7 instead of an 8.5 because of performance issues that they're going to patch. So I think there's justification in some review outlets being like, I don't think it makes sense to lambaste a game for performance issues. But on the other hand, I kind of think they should mention them. I think it's a glaring flaw in the review circuit because, hey, you should know I'm giving this an 8.5, but if this stuff doesn't get fixed, this is like a 7 for me. It really, really hurts the experience. I think you got to kind of take that and understand that that's always the risk that you're taking as the consumer, which I don't think you have to take that risk. Day one, YouTube and Twitch have streamers streaming the game. You were not in the dark about Borderlands if you waited half a day. If you waited half a day. The Borderlands reviews are still an approximation of the game's quality. It's a good game. It's a good Borderlands. They got to patch these things and fix these things. I'm just giving you different examples of why I'm done with mainstream reviews like IGN. I'm not trying to compel you to trust them. I was simply trying to understand why you don't trust them. I don't trust IGN because it's a platform that has consistently lied and said things that aren't true. I think they're untrustworthy. They've misquoted PlayStation. They've misrepresented things. They are dishonest. They are consistently dishonest. So I don't trust IGN because of a pattern of behavior. They're not trustworthy. And they have people at high levels at the company that are buffoons. That's why I don't trust them. They've got people there that write good reviews and do good work, but like even their recent piece about how all these PlayStation games have basically the same story, it's egregiously bad. It's terrible. Any literary critic that actually looked at the stories of these PlayStation games would laugh at that article and be like, you don't even have the faintest clue of how to do literary criticism of a story if you think all these stories are basically the same. Like, you'd flunk out of that class. Right? But like, on the whole, like all of the review outlets kind of coming together and giving you an approximation of a game. Sorry, Omega's going to double dip. 47 months in Member Plus. Thank you, CB, for Omega. He renews on YouTube. Boom. And he renews on Twitch. Hey, it's me again with the Prime. We're one away from 525, and I'll owe you guys a member. I'm talking about the big outlets like IGN, GameSpot. Just tired and feeling gaslit. I think you are perfectly well within your right to make that decision as the consumer and to say, these outlets have reached a point where I don't feel like I get an accurate depiction. And Alex is going to gift one to land the plane. Boom. 525. I owe a member to Purple. There it is. Now's the time, boys. If you've been waiting, if you've been holding out for a train, now's the time. We got about 12 minutes. Agent of Chaos is going to be Stone Spire. A little slow over there on YouTube. 526. 526. A little slow on the draw. We're now 24 away from the next milestone. It took 10 seconds of scrolling Metacritic to find someone that talks about performance, says Fuzzy. Borderlands 4 is easily the best in the series when it comes to gameplay and fun factor, and the best overall game in the franchise since Borderlands 2, but some performance issues on PC are a cause for concern. Yeah, I do think he's modifying, or maybe he's refining the position a little bit and saying it's more about these more mainstream outlets that just don't mention these things, right? Destructoid mentioned it. To be fair, some of the issues Destructoid mentioned, they fixed by swapping out their power supply. So Bin 610. Bin 610 with 55 months in a VIP. Boom. 527. A couple of weeks ago, somebody went crazy and saved y'all's bacon on Twitch. Okay. Madam has said, this is straight from Madam. So this is the real boss. This is the real CEO. Okay. You guys have got to hit stretch before Friday night if you want the extra stream on Saturday. Okay. So if anybody decides to come in and go crazy on Purple tonight when we're streaming, Madam says no. That's after the buzzer. All right. That's Madam's call, which I think she's fair to make that call, because Saturday night's usually a night for us to hang out together and have a bit of like a, almost like a date night on the couch. Madam doesn't like people hitting that goal late like that. Yeah, she's the final boss. That's right. What does Madam think of Yōtei? You can ask her tonight. She'll watch me play. That's, you guys decided you wanted that instead of Lego Party, which is fine. That needs to be carryover then? Huh? Loving the mask in the background? Yeah, my collector's edition showed up yesterday, so I put the mask in the shot. Lono always has the last word in the house. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I don't say that to her. Can we choose between a male and a female protagonist? You honestly don't know the answer to that question? Can you choose between a male and a female protagonist in Ghost of Tsushima? God of War? Horizon? Uncharted? If subs are gifted tonight, they should be counted towards next week. Oh, yeah, I think that's fair. If somebody misfires tonight on Twitch and it's past the buzzer, no, that's fair. That's fair. We can roll that over. Yeah. If you guys are working on stretch and don't hit it, yeah, we're not going to roll that over. But if somebody goes crazy tonight, I think that's fair. In Yōtei. Yeah, I don't know why you would expect to be able to pick the protagonist in Yōtei when you don't pick the protagonist in any other game like this. There was no picking a different protagonist in Tsushima. It's a story about Jin Sakai. This is a story about Atsu. When you play Horizon or The Witcher, it's a story about that character. Like, I don't know why. It's a weird question, honestly. All right. 7 minutes, and we're switching gears. 7 minutes. You guys can obviously go crazy during gameplay. It usually doesn't happen. That's just been the pattern. We're not allowed to play story games anymore. You can pick your character in Legends. That's true. To be fair, I don't like any review from anyone. I am much more of a try it myself type of gamer. I generally feel no reviewer plays games the way normal gamers. I mean, I think there's truth to that like they're on a timeline, you know, and that's likely going to affect things. You know, I think that's always going to play a role. Like the guy yesterday who said he had been playing for like 17 straight hours since the game's release and he didn't think the story was as good. And I'm like, that's a really terrible way to play this game. Like, I wouldn't take your feedback on the story to me, it wasn't a very strong reaction to me. It was like, you're burning the game to the ground. Like, so yeah, I think there are some review outlets and people that definitely are, you know, fall prey to that. Have you seen Asmon's impression yet? The game looks good, but the story's been done 100 times. I don't agree with that. I think there's depth and nuance to the story that people are missing, and I already talked about that a little bit this morning. It's not a cliche revenge story. It isn't. There's a lot more going on that people aren't picking up on. I think that's a very easy, you know, armchair criticism to make in a game if you're not playing it. If you play it, and you're really letting the game tell its story, and you're really listening, and you're really paying attention, I do not think that is the case. I don't. Also, just because a type of story has been told before doesn't mean it can't be really fun and really enjoyable. Case in point, every John Wick movie. Equalizer 1 and 3. Equalizer 2 is no good. Equalizer 1 and 3. Like, I don't know. We've had plenty of Chosen One, plenty of Chosen One stories, and yet people really liked The Matrix. People really liked Harry Potter. I don't think story type is a criticism, because some of the greatest stories that we enjoy are a type that we've heard many times. As a young girl, she witnesses her family being massacred by the Yōtei 6, but it isn't a revenge story. If you haven't played the game and you're not familiar with the nuance and the other things happening, then no. You're watching trailers and listening to people who were predisposed to not like it. Like, color me shocked that people that were predisposed to not like this game are like, to it. Like, oh my, I am so shocked that that's happening. I'm so shocked that people who haven't played it are simplifying the story into it's a basic revenge story. That would be like somebody seeing the premise of Tsushima and saying it's just Chosen One archetype. That would be the same level of analysis. Like, there's so much more to Tsushima than Chosen One story arc, but that's essentially the story arc. He's the Chosen One. He's the one that can do it. He's the one that achieves it. He's the one that brings everybody together and saves the island. I want to love Yōtei, but I can't afford to pick up a PS5, so I'll wait. Yeah, I think that's fair. Taking 1, 2, and 3, how many times can you let your family get kidnapped? Humans can only tell stories that they can relate to. It's hard to come up with a new story type. You have no reference at all. So there's only going to be so many types of stories. Yōtei is selling faster than Tsushima. I've seen people make that claim. I would imagine that's just basic analysis. That is a... What is that? That's like speculation right now. We've had people make estimates like that. I don't think we know right now, though. What's unfortunate, too, is the more creative stories and the more creative storytelling that we've got haven't received the praise and the notoriety, right? Like, I feel like Returnal's story is super creative and super deep, and it just didn't get the attention, you know? Thousands of years of human experience, and we have like 7 generic story types. That's why it's not a criticism. It's not. It's not a criticism to be like, well, we've done this story 100 times. Okay, I really, really hope then that you're consistent. And every time a revenge video game or revenge story or revenge show or movie, anytime one comes out, I hope you're just as dismissive. I don't think that you will be. Because people were predisposed to not like this. It was maligned, it was lied about, it was misrepresented, it was called woke by grifters and people who do not tell the truth, and they had a whole agenda against it, and it's crushing. So their only course of action now is to be like, well, it's, this story's cliche. We've played this story many times before. I hope you keep that same energy every single time a movie, show, book, or game does a revenge story arc, because this won't be the last one. It won't be the last one. So I hope y'all are consistent. See, what you should do is you would judge the game on its own merits, on its own method. I argued rather similarly when review outlets took points off of Lies of P for just being too similar to FromSoft. We've done this thing before, where we look for shortcuts and we look for this, that, and the third in a dense environment. We've done this in the Souls games. It's too similar to the FromSoft format. That's not a reason to take points off. Did they do a good job? Was it excellently built, designed, and executed? Was it original in art direction and idea? Yes, it was. The user score for Lies of P represents that there's a huge divide there. Why? Because outlets were, I think, unfairly taking points off for the game being too similar to FromSoft format. That's not a reason to take points off. We've played this story before. Oh, okay. Did they do a good job with the story? How was the character development? How was the backstory? How are the character arcs? How was the writing? How was the pacing? Are we going to get any analysis of that? Or is it just going to be, well, we've done this story before, so that's an easy way to dismiss it? Kazan's the most basic type of revenge story you can tell. Excellent game. Yeah, there's a lot of cliches in First Berserker Kazan. Do you guys think, like, I saw people praising Rise of the Ronin. All of a sudden, Rise of the Ronin is, like, getting praised, which I thought it was fine. I thought it was a good story. Do you think that that story doesn't have cliches and stereotypes in it? Because it does. And that's not a problem. It's only a problem if they lean on the story type, the archetype, the cliche. If they lean on those things, now you have a criticism. But if they do a good job, there are excellent moments in Rise of the Ronin. I really, really liked some of the moments, and I really grew to love some of the characters. And when one of them died, I was pretty pissed. So again, it's not a criticism to say, oh, we played this story before. You could say that virtually every time a video game comes out. Like, the theme of Expedition 33 is rather deep. The method of storytelling is literally the scrappy group against insurmountable odds. Like, we've played so many games like that before. We've watched so many movies where you got this group against insurmountable odds. Right? That's what Expedition 33's basic story format is that you have a group of people trying to overcome insurmountable odds. Courage under fire. Like, you're gonna go in there and fight anyway, right? The unstoppable, unflappable heroes. And yet, within that archetype of story, it's very creative and very well done and excellently built. So that the issue's not whether or not a story type has been used before. The issue is, did they do a good job within the method of storytelling? And relates to gameplay. I need a break before we go to gameplay. Do me a quick favor and hit the like button. Become a member. Gift members. Do whatever. Sometimes you guys like to go crazy when I leave the room. You guys think that's hilarious. We'll come back, and we're driving back into Yōtei. And if people get to misbehaving and disrupting and causing grief, we'll bring the portcullis down if we have to. Tim kind of went on an episode there. Is this what got him suspended? I'm not posting until, or if the story is covered. I know everything. It's not my job to be a journalist. It's a delicate situation. Talk soon. Microsoft really cares about everyone, right? Unless you're old, you're literally pushed out. Bunch of fake hypocrites. I'm not posting for a while. All I'm saying is, journalists, do your job. Only Jason could get this down. He won't touch it either. We've arrived at the Xbox spiral. It's a lost cause and it's bad. Major scoop. I'm not saying do your job, journalist. Holy effing blank. Now I know why they are so effed up. It's absolutely bonkers. They need to sell immediately. I swear to God they do, because this isn't getting fixed. They have major internal problems. I just got a crazy scoop. I'm staying out of this. It's burning down. Sad to see. This is really bad is all I will say. Xbox has major issues making games, and that's not getting fixed anytime soon. Eternally, it's a total horror show, and everyone can't say they can't get to the core of the problem. Major turmoil. Bro is crashing out. It's hard to know if that's a crash out or if like he actually has some pretty significant smoking guns. I have been consistently curious as to why they have just consistently struggled to get games to the market. Like, and I've always said it's the Series S because I feel like it really, really hamstrings development. But like, they've really, really struggled to get games to the market, and there could be something. I don't know. It'd be really interesting to see what he's saying he's got this scoop on. It matters because it's all subjective. Story is the most subjective thing. It's why I think gameplay is the most important thing for a game for me. Right, but gameplay is just as subjective. It's just as subjective. Take the debates about Silksong and runbacks. I mean, pretty subjective as well. Gameplay is not an objective conversation either, brother. Who's got the possible scoop? Tim Dog is saying he has some scoop on Xbox, and then he vanished on Twitter. I don't know. In Ghost of Yotei, how do you see enemies through the walls? Goodness gracious, stop spamming. My gosh. I don't know. I haven't done it yet. It might be in your skill tree. Nothing against Tim, but it's absolutely absurd that somebody like Tim got that close to Xbox. Absolutely absurd. Eugene, you've heard my theory on this. My theory, and I think my theory holds weight if you look at the caliber of persons that got close and got inside scoops. It didn't make any sense, right? It's like, what is this? I'm telling you, they got caught paying, YouTubers to praise and promote the Xbox One. They didn't divulge they were paid. They didn't divulge those were sponsored videos. They got in trouble. It led to FTC, regulations on sponsored content. And what'd they do? Well, we can pay you with access. We can pay you with spiffs and getting flown out to events. A guy with 1 million subs is going to tell you to F off. He wants money. He's going to say, pay me my money. Who's going to receive payment in the form of access and flights and hotel stay? That's all I'm saying. I'm going to take a bathroom break and we're going to get into gameplay. Okay. I need a new furnace. It's going to be a few bucks. You don't happen to live in Louisville, Kentucky, do you? Oh, you're in Canada. Yeah. Actually, I don't know if I'd be able to do that. I would like low-key dox myself if I did that. I would be like low-key doxing myself if I did that. I didn't bring a controller in here? Hang on a minute. Okay. Gonna switch directories. We're switching gears, boys. You don't see enemies through the walls. It's not in the assassination skills tree. It doesn't exist. Huh. Did I mention it was my birthday on Monday? Pick A, B, C, or D. Okay, so it's your birthday on Monday. Pick A, B, C, or D. Am I grading Yōtei or am I picking like a quiz show? What am I picking here? Oh, it was your birthday this past Monday. Well, happy birthday, Pork Pie. I appreciate you, man. Hopefully it was a good one. Picking how many subs you get. Oh, chat. Voyager says B. I don't know what I should pick. This is a really hard choice. Oh, Alex gifted a sub while I was gone. Hang on. Oh, this is Z. I'm gonna go with D. You can't go wrong with D. Pause. I'm going with D. Final answer. It'll be one. It'll be one, chat. Oh, let's see what you guys get. No! He just did a 100 bomb. I've not gotten to use this button yet. Boom! A 100 bomb out of nowhere. Should have stuck with C. I was gonna go with C. That was 200. Oh, I was gonna go with C. I'm like, you always go with C, right? Whenever you're like multiple choice on a test. My gut said C, and I was like, no, I'm gonna go D. We're gonna go D. Oh, sorry everybody. I shorted you by 100 by going with D. That's my fault. Oh, that was really kind of you, Subtext. He tweeted my quote about the writing of the names. Thank you again, Pork Pie, dude. Your generosity to the channel is absurd, man. Thank you. Let me get everything set up here. And Alex is gonna gift another one. Boom. 629. I do owe you guys a member over here for that. Oh, Alex is gifting two. Oh, I know what he's doing. Boom. Alex is setting up the 20 bomb dunker to 650. There's the one that I owe you guys over there on Twitch. Thank you very, very much. Let me get everything set here. Well, Pork Pie definitely got you guys close. Are member streams exclusive to YouTube? No, I do the members content on Twitch as well. As long as you're a sub, you can watch. As long as you're a sub, you'll be able to watch tonight with Madam and I. Let's see here. We're gonna repost that. All right, let me get an alert here in the Discord. And if you guys get the Saturday stream, you might. We're close to the record on the hype train, by the way. The hype train on Twitch record is like level 14. We're actually close to the record right now. If you guys manage to get this to 750, we'll do another stream tomorrow night. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. I'm not having any right now. But we got some sake for tonight. We'll do some Yōtei with Madam tonight, and we'll try sake for the first time. And this is perfect color scheme for some Yōtei. We'll do a double header. We'll do another one tomorrow night with you guys. A community night. We'll just hang out. Right? Well, if I tried. Wait, what happened? Did I miss? Did you do something, Stone, and I missed it? Oh, I'm sorry. Stone did two. Hang on. I didn't have it on the screen. Boom, boom. There it is. There it is. I'm sorry, Stone. I couldn't see YouTube. I was scheduling and tweeting. What's that called? It's it actually was not very expensive, and it's got a lot of awards and a lot of praise. It's called Gekicon Black and Gold. Let me see if I can get it on screen. That right there. Take a screenshot. At the top, Gekicon Black and Gold. If you search Black and Gold sake, you'll probably find it. How is the game? We're jumping in right now. Okay. You guys on YouTube, I'll put a link in chat. You can use that link or ride the redirect. I need to have purple pulled up over here as well so I can see if anybody goes crazy again. Sometimes it doesn't hit my and there's 2.5 minutes left on the hype train, boys. If you're trying to level up that hype train and hit the next thing. What's the stretch goal? Stretch goal 750. The stretch goal is always 750. Found some info. May have stretched out. Yeah, we already saw that, Hattigan. I'm not sure what's going on. Like, what will you be doing? We'll do a double header. We'll do another stream on Saturday. We'll play some Yōtei. We'll have some sake. We'll do, if you guys want to do some Jackbox, we'll do some Jackbox. You know, We'll do a whole lot. We'll do a whole lot. Why the frick is this downloading? Oh, that's right. I pre-ordered. I think I pre-ordered this to get in the beta. Oh, gosh. Okie dokie. Yeah, this is in game. Hang on, I need to make sure. Let me make sure the HDR is off. It looks a little bit dark through the capture card, and let me make sure that didn't get turned back on. HDR really screws with my capture card. No, it's off. Okay. Deep color output, RGB range. Okay. It could just be... Let me double check the capture card to make sure that I don't have anything weird set. Color range, color space. All right, let me go into filters. Yeah, we could probably do a teeny bit of... No, I don't want to do that. Just a touch there. And just a touch there. That's a little bit more like what my monitor looks like. That's a little bit better. Okay. Is that a frickin' tornado? I don't think so. I think it's like smoke from a fire. All right, use the link in chat, YouTube, and then I'll redirect you as well. All right? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're picking this up and watching this later just to get a feel for Ghost of Yotei gameplay, this is Ghost of Yotei gameplay on a PS5 Pro. I am running the Ray Tracing Pro mode. I've really enjoyed my time with Ghost of Yotei gameplay. All right? So, I appreciate you guys so much watching this later. Hit the like button, do all the things. We're going to be streaming this with my wife. We're going to have some sake as well. So make sure you're a member on the channel if you want to be a part of that. I'm going to end the previous stream. I'm going to bring folks over with redirect. Thank you guys so much, though, everybody that was there for sort of my review in progress of Yōtei.